Hello, everyone. It's day 3 of the summit, and it feels so much like home. I'm so excited that we've been able to cultivate a very safe space for Black women around the world, a very honest space where we can really lay our burdens down and say that's no longer mine, right? And smack dab in the middle of the summit, I am so happy to have Dr. Christian here with us. I will let her talk about all of the incredible things that make her magnificent, but I truly am grateful that it is her that we get to talk about this concept of reimagining the gravity of no. I have chills as I say it because that word has so many connotations, but we need to add a little bit more on there. So without further ado, Dr. Christian, again, I'm just thrilled that we're having this conversation today to hear your perspective on these things, reimagining the gravity of no. I do believe, after following your brand, even before I got to speak to you for this event, that it has to be your experiences and your training and your influences that have wrapped up and culminated to usher you into the season that you're in today. So please do share your story with us and how your experiences have come together to bridge you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm getting chills in the moment, the space that you're creating for Black women to be vulnerable, to be themselves, to invest in themselves. I'm just so excited to be a part of the conversation and try to help lead us in that way any way that I can.
Thank you. I'm happy that you are here. So yeah, what would you share about your background, even your training, maybe some unexpected experiences that helped you to, launch your business or who, the things that have shaped, right, who you are from inside out?
Okay, that's a question. How much time do we have? It's taking me an hour to go through what made you who you are. But I can start at the top. I'm the founder of Black and Green. So Black and Green is an e-commerce marketplace where we source all natural, non-toxic products created by Black women. So there are a couple of things here. My background's in public health. I read an article that the products marketed to Black people are more toxic than the products marketed to everyone else. I thought that was absurd. And so I went on a journey to buy as many natural, non-toxic products as possible for myself. I was looking up every ingredient, trying to check the environmental working group, trying to see how toxic those ingredients were. I was spending a lot of time doing this. About 6 months into my journey of trying to buy all natural and clean, I read the book Our Black Year by Maggie Anderson. And in that book, she talked about the power of your dollar, how you can be an intentional consumer and make sure that you're consuming things that align with your values. I said, ooh. So I'm in my head, okay, what do you care about? What do you want to do with your money? And how can you make your purchasing align with that? I said, okay, I care about Black women. I care about Black women businesses, and I would love to support their brands. I'm not a big banker. I don't have millions of dollars, but I buy deodorant. I buy shampoo, I buy conditioner, I buy body butter. What if I can buy those non-toxic products from Black women? I can help their businesses grow and thrive. And so I went back to my list of all natural, non-toxic products. And I said, okay, now I want them to be all Black owned. So I was scratching some off and adding more to it. And I had this long list of products I was buying, and I was complaining. I was complaining to my husband and said, man, this takes so much work. I got to order from all these different places. Some stuff work, some stuff don't work. I said, this is a lot of work. I wish there was a place where everything was Black and green so I could just go out and buy it. And that's the way Black and Green got started. And people often ask me, oh, why didn't you create your own product? I said, because that's not my specialty. I don't know everything I need to know about skincare. I don't know everything I need to know about hair. That's not what I do. But what I can do is I can create a space where people, women who are already doing this, can push their products forward. And so that's what I chose to do instead. I spent my time, my energy, my education, my background to create a space to help promote and push Black-owned, women-owned, non-toxic brands forward into the forefront. So that's kind of the work I've done with Black and Green.
That in and of itself is so transformational, right? I think women hearing that is so transformational because a lot of times we feel bad about the fact that we're saying this is too hard, right? I don't want to have to go through all of this work. And because you leaned into that fact, it was a fact, right? It was hard. It still is hard. We're still very fragmented in the world. Because you leaned into it, you made a solution that everybody needs, period, right?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And just curious, especially for those who may be considering, making things that add ease to people's lives. Are you a technical founder? Like, do you know how to code and build websites, et cetera? Love that.
Not at all. That is not my background at all. My background is public health. I was a public health professor. That's what I do. Like, I could educate and think about policies, and that's what my kind of magic sweet spot is. Yep. The tech stuff, not so much.
Yep, and y'all are still fire. I mean, fire. Go check them out now. I'm gassing on purpose, but I'm telling y'all, go check it out. So, I'm excited about this conversation because these elements, right? You not being a technical founder, you not building apps and websites, et cetera. It did not stop you from pointing to the people who know how to get things done, from the deodorant makers to the website person, et cetera, right? And building something beautiful. So zeroing in on the word no, right? We know that it holds a lot of weight in our minds, but personally, right? If we each think about what the word no typically means for us and the emotions that come up, right? Many times it's a negative association. So I want us to talk about Black people particularly right now, right? I believe that we have a heavier burden than our counterparts, right? Yep. Because we don't want to let people down, right? We know we have to work twice as hard to get in spaces that weren't designed for us and all of these things. But can you pack for us what you believe some of these fears to be? Like, if you had to name them and go down the list and make people feel seen, what do you think are some of the fears associated with the word no? And where do you think this difficulty stems from?
I can go a lot of different directions to that. The first thing that's coming up for me is that when you say the word no, when a Black woman says the word no, depending on who she's saying it to, what you're saying is, I assert that what I think, what I believe, the direction I want to go in is different and better than what you're selling to me. And as a Black woman, we oftentimes don't feel comfortable being that space, saying no to those around us, because we don't want to show that we're better than you, or we disagree with you, or that I think the way I'm processing this is the direction I want to go in, and not the way that you're processing it. And oftentimes Black women don't feel strong enough to stand on their own 2 feet and say, I'm going to process this and deal with it my way, different than your way. Your way might be just fine for you, but that's not the way I want to do it. So I can think of the very first time I said no in Black and Green. When I started Black and Green, I was very intentional that I wanted to create a space for Black women. I got a lot of pushback. Are you sure you don't want to make it people of color? I said what I said. I wanted it for Black women. They're like, well, what about Black men? I said, I want for Black women. And so I had a lot of pushback. And someone came to me and said, you're going to be really hard for you to get investors if you do that way. I said, who said I wanted investors? I'm not looking for investors. That's not why I'm in the business to do this. I'm not trying to make all this money. I'm trying to serve Black women. And I don't need investors to do that. Black women got me. And I think that was the very first time I said no. And I'm happy I said no.
I see you, I feel you. I was so shocked, Dr. Christian, when I started building Blaze at the end of 2020 in the thick of a pandemic, right? And I had so many people, especially Black men, saying to me, why would you do that? Why would you limit yourself? Black women aren't gonna be as vocal as we are. Like, we need help, and Black women gonna be jealousy. I mean, all of these projections that were not part of my experience. Like you mentioned, Black women show up for me. They always have,
And the thing about it is the way that the environment, society works. When I give freely from my heart, Black women give freely back to me.
Period.
When I give positive energy, positive joy, all that comes right on back to me.
Period.
And so I don't know why this narrative has been created that Black women bitter and they fight and they I don't know. That's not my reality. I don't know whose reality that is. And then a part of me feels like, and I don't know, part of me feels like Black men are making up this to keep us fighting, but I don't know. But someone is making this up because it's not my reality.
I say, like we are perpetuating stories that the oppressor tell us about, yep. Right? Like we are perpetuating the mammy stories. We're perpetuating these, fetishizing our bodies as if we can't be sexy and not feel self-conscious about it, right? Like we're perpetuating stories of Black men are scared, Yep. So yeah, like trailblazers like you, sis, right? Like we are the people who are giving stages, right, to Black women to tell their own stories, period, right? So I think that is powerful. I remember after we did the very first summit, right, we won literally winter of 2021, okay? We like 12 months in the game, won a Webby distinction for Webby Awards honoree for Best in Business and Finance, and a non-Black woman came to me and said, I mean, this is so great, but I believe that this should be for women of color because the information is too good not to share with other people. And I had to break down, I didn't have to, but I decided to break down to her, okay, sis, well, you didn't care that Black women start 42% of all new businesses created by women every single day. You didn't care then about us, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't care whether we got good information or not then, right? You don't care that 0.64% of us get venture capital. You literally didn't care. It's not until something great happens for us that you feel entitled to that. Nah, sis, I don't have nothing to do with that. Go over to all the people that are giving you dope game because very few of us are doing this over here, and don't come back to me again and ever say it. I ain't repeating myself, right? Like you speaking up about Black women now, and the sentence is, let us have some too, girl, please. But okay, I just felt that completely.
But honestly, I'll receive that as like, that's how amazing of a job that you're doing. That you created something so dope that they're trying to get it. That speaks to the power of what you've done.
Yeah, they've never felt boxed out. Mind you, this was a speaker though. She spoke to Black women, right? And then it's just like, but dang, I felt bad that it wasn't me out there. No. Like, how about you actually do something, right? Like I'm doing, right? Like create space for us so that we can have a piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
But anyway, super dope. So, I want us to start, defining what this reimagination would be of the word no, right? Because it's important that we reclaim our power like you're doing, like I'm doing, right? Without permission, and really start imagining the good that can come from the word no, the comfort that can come from the word no, right? So, Dr. Christian, what would you say are some of the ways in which the word no has already added liberation in your life and peace in your life and joy in your life?
Yes. So before I got to the point where I can say no, I had to take a step back and figure out, what do I want? What brings me joy? What makes me happy? It's hard to get happy if you don't know what brings you there. You bounce like this if you don't really know what it is. But once I knew what makes me happy, what brings me joy, then saying no was a little bit easier, because in my brain, you're not going to distract me from my path. So anything or anyone that distracts me from that, I'm going to say no to. So I can give you an example. I know working out is a part of my path to getting happy. Whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I'm not feeling good, I run to the gym. I know that is something that works for me. All right, you aren't feeling good, just go to the gym and say about 30 minutes. You don't need a long time, just 30 minutes, just work it through, or just in your brain. I know yoga does that for me. Just give me an hour to lay back and clear my thoughts. I know these things are important for me. I had a really good friend of mine who wanted me to do a session for her. We have been trying to find a session. And I said, okay, I'll give up my yoga for you. Then I started thinking about it. I said, Kristen, don't give up your yoga. Yoga is important to you. Me, who didn't know herself well, would have been trying to please my friend. And so let me just do what she needs, because I want to please her. I want to help her get what she needs. And I would have put myself in the back burner. But the new me that understand that I can love myself and I can take care of myself. And there's power in the word no. I texted her. I said, hey, I really can't miss yoga. We have to find another time. She said, no problem. Let's find another time. It was easy. I was like, okay. So she wasn't mad. I did it. And I was happy because I stood up for myself. So I think those little moments when I say no, I realize it works out. And I was, oh, she's gonna be mad that I didn't do this. Oh, I was telling myself this whole narrative about the potential negative of it, but it ended up being just fine and perfectly. And I got what I needed and she got what she needed.
That's so good, because I think it's important for us to make peace with the fact that the word no does mean that you are denying somebody of something, right? And at times yourself even, right? But to be comfortable with that, right? And to also look at what is being gained. A lot of times society pushes on us anything for money, right? Anything for clout, anything for notoriety, et cetera. And we die early deaths. We have horrible health, experiences. Our mental health is shot, right? And yeah, I think we have to get very, very comfortable with this notion of, deprioritizing other people's desires so that we can prioritize ours better. And that's right. That's teaching our family how to love us and how to protect us and how to show up for us. It's teaching our jobs what to expect from us and to stop having them think that we are the mules who are going to go beyond human capacity to get it done. Right.
But that first question is teach them. In order to teach them is you have to know. If you don't know, you're going to just get pulled in direct. Okay, they asked me. Okay, they asked me. Okay, I'll do. Okay. Because you don't know what you need. Once you take a step back, like, what do I need? I need my 10 hours of sleep. So when someone asks me, well, 10 is a bit much. I need my 8 hours of sleep. So when someone asks me to come to something at that midnight, no, my bedtime's at 10. I'm sorry. That's not going to work. And so you have to know yourself well enough to know when you can say no. If you don't know yourself well enough, you're going to be pulled. You're constantly going to get pulled because you don't know when you should say no, because you don't know what you need. So the first step is you have to figure out what you need. Write down all the things that bring you joy, all the things that make you happy. And you try to structure your life in a way they're doing more of those things as possible. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. I became very intimately close to death. In 2019, July 1st, 2019, I was in a car accident, a life-threatening car accident. A car hit us, our airbags didn't deploy. I was immediately unconscious. I got airlifted to the hospital. I was in a coma for about 30 days. The neurosurgeon told my parents I had one of the most traumatic brain injuries that they had ever seen. They warned my parents and my family that I may be a vegetable. I may never move again. I may never talk again. Who they knew, I may never be her again. So they prepared them for that. But me and God had another plan. So I strive. I worked hard to get back to the point where I can walk and I can talk and I can drive again. I can do all these things again that they didn't think that I could do. But I came back in this world with a different perspective on life. Is that I know I'm going to die. I became very intimately close to dying. Actually, when I was in a coma, I met my grandmother who had never met in this world. I met her, my dad's mother, and she looked at me and she said, baby, now's not your time. I said, okay, granny, now's not my time. So I had this newfound focus. I want to know, what am I supposed to do on this earth? Because we're not going to always be here. We have a limited amount of time. And I want to make sure that my time here, I'm investing in the people around me. I'm making the world a better place. And I want to make sure, and the power of no allows me to do that. Because I was saying yes way more than I should have. But I'm getting so much better at saying no now. I can serve those around me better when I'm saying no.
That is powerful. I just want to pause for a beat to absorb what you just said, right? Like, unconscious for a month. Y'all in the chat, write whatever you are feeling. Like, let this, process this, right? Feel this. So many times we are just accustomed to burying our thoughts and our feelings so that we continue being productive. But I know I'm not the only one listening that has often wondered about death, right? And have often felt nervous about running out of time, right? But feeling hopeless because I thought I had to do everything else everybody wanted me to do and try to find a piece of enjoyment at the end of my life, right? Knowing that I was breaking my body down, but I thought I had to give, like Dr. Christian saying, yes, it's to everybody else to be worthy of a vacation, to be worthy of time off, to be worthy of a mental day, right? Knowing I was killing myself, right? And what you are saying, woo, is powerful because you are visibly showing a generation who won't have to do what we did, right? All we knew was what our mamas did, you know, and Black people in the corporate America, right? But you are visibly showing people that I choose how I spend my days. And the closer I get to death, I'm happy every day because I chose. I hold it with both hands every day what I want to do, you know?
Exactly. I think it's so incredible. A couple of years ago, before I started Blank Green, so it might have been in 2016, I made a post on Facebook. I said, I want a life I do not need a vacation from. And I had to do a lot of thinking about what that meant. I said, well, Kristen, why do you enjoy vacations? What about vacations do you enjoy? Oh, you like the freedom of your time that you can do whatever you want. You like that you're trying new food. You like that you're meeting new people. You like that you're going to new places and doing new things. Okay, structure your life that way. Go eat at a new restaurant often. Go to places with new people often. Go to museums in your hometown. All the things that you're doing on vacation, do them every day. Don't wait to do them on vacation.
That's good. You know, I can honestly say, you know, that's how I feel every day, Dr. Christian. Like I have in the last, I think, year, right? I just have a very fresh relationship with this word death, with this concept death. Like I don't fear it, like because I have truly unapologetically constructed a life that feels like a vacation every single day. Like every single day, like I know every day I'm doing exactly what I want to do and there's space for me to evolve. Like there is space for me to be mentally challenged on days and just rest because that feels good, or space for me to explore the world because I want to be poured into and I don't want to pour out in certain seasons, you know? And I do that. So I love that. And I think I've already seen it, right? Even in my business, like very smart girls from college that I mentor. I mean, smart, magna cum laude, summa cum laude. They get to graduation day and they're like, yeah, like I could go, you know, work for McKinsey and I could go for, you know, whoever, but I want to work for Blake. That's powerful, right? Because it's like they realize, they keenly understand that they don't have to do this stuff that feels painful. They don't have to kill themselves, you know? So I want to pose another question to you. You know, when we think about us pushing the bounds further than we saw, right? And creating space for ourselves, right? I think that we are inspiring the next generation to go even further, right? It inevitably happens, right? So what do you think that, you know, our notions of saying no to dad, what opportunities, what lifestyles, et cetera, do you think we're opening up for generations to come after us?
I love this question. So what I say with, I'm a mom now of a 1-year-old and 3-year-old. And often the feedback I give people is being a mom forces you to have your stuff together in a way that you don't understand it until you have it. Because you have two little humans who are watching everything you do and absorbing it all, that you're shaping the way that they see things, the way they engage with things. When I'm upset, when I'm mad at something, I say, ooh, my son's watching how I act now. Kristen, be careful. Kristen, let's think this through. Okay, so they're forcing me to make sure I show up and behave in a way So I want them to behave in a certain way when they get upset. I want them to behave in a certain way when they don't get what they want. So, or the only way that they can do that is if I model that same behavior. So when I think about what we're doing for those coming up behind us, I think we are trying to show them that we can model our best behavior and show up in the world in a certain way. And so by me being able to act in a certain way and get the things that I want, I'm showing them they can do the exact same thing. So I think that's kind of where my brain is going. My brain is kind of this freedom I want them to experience, this freedom that I don't want them to have certain desires and certain choices to get something else done. Well, I want to look this way. I want to do this thing. I want to seem professional. I want to seem da da da. So I have to do all these things. No, release all that. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? What makes you feel the most free? And try to set up your life in a way that magnifies those things. In order for my boys to do that, that means I have to do that. I need to model my life in a way that is maximizing my joy and my happiness. Because let's see, if I'm constantly complaining about not liking work and not liking what I'm doing, that's what he sees all the time. Well, mommy did a job she didn't like, so I guess I should go get a job I don't like too, because that's what he sees. But what he sees is, oh, mommy doing her black and green stuff. Mommy loves doing her black and green stuff. Oh, I want to start something like mommy started. That's what he sees. So that's what I think I'm trying to do with my boys, is model what joy looks like. I don't think Black people know what joy is. We're so used to struggling. We're so used to fighting. And honestly, some of us feel guilty when we have joy. We feel guilty when we're happy because we know all this mess exists around us. But I'm saying, in that mess, you can have joy. In that mess, you can be happy. And so I want us to figure out a way to be joyful and teach those coming around us it's okay to be joyful. Don't be fearful of don't be fearful. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel like it's wrong to have joy.
That's so good, because it really does push past the bounds of today, right? Like, you're not saying that you don't want to complain in front of your boys. You're saying, I don't want to have things to complain about. Oh, that's different.
Yep.
That's different.
Yep.
Right? Because we learned respectability politics. We learned to go into these spaces that feel horrible and hold our head up and don't ever complain. Don't let them see you sweat, right? Like, that's fronting. We learned how to front, right? And so our lives, like you mentioned, is filled with pain, right? Asphyxiation, where we can barely breathe every day, right? But you've chosen, that's deep. You've chosen the life that you love so that your boys know freedom. And we haven't known freedom, right? Like, we haven't known freedom.
This is so funny. Me and my husband went out to eat. It was about a couple months ago. And these little white kids are just running around freely, getting into stuff, getting all up underneath things. They parents ain't saying nothing to them. I said, little Black boys running around doing that. Sit down, come here, sit down, put your legs up, cross your legs. They got all this correction. These little white boys was jumping around, shaking and circling. Ooh, and I told my husband, said, those little white boys have a freedom that Black kids cannot have. He said, because they can't. He said, they can't have that kind of freedom. I said, but I want my boys to have that freedom at home. If they can't have it in public, I want my boys to have that freedom at home.
That's good, and I say, probably not even often enough, safe spaces over everything, right? Like, I understand why our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents taught us to be so controlled, because it was truly a matter of life or death, right? Yeah. And today,
Black men killed by police. I get it.
Period.
I understand why we need respectability politics. That made us survive. It's how we survived.
Period.
I understand why they exist the way they exist, but I want to create an environment where they can be free. I understand the history of America that has Black folks living in this fear. This speak what it is. We're living in this fear that at any moment we can be murdered or we can get something that we deserve taken away from us. We're constantly living in a space of fear. It's hard to be free when you're fearful. So I want to create an environment where my boys feel free in, which might not be possible, but that ain't gonna stop me from trying.
And it is, right? Like I think, and this is my theory, and it's why I live it is why I live my life, not why, but it's why I'm very visible about the way I live my life. And literally bouncing out of the States, right? A couple of months after I quit my 9 to 5, because I wanted to put skin in the game to show myself I was as limitless as I felt. And I knew my story would be the first story like mine that most Black women had ever seen up until that point, right? And literally being a digital nomad and building Blaze, right? Like literal global awards, literally like creating products on the continent of Africa that nobody's ever seen before, like thousands, but I'm a digital nomad, bro. Like since February 2021, I've spent a total of 2 weeks in the States, 14 days. This entire time, I've been wherever in the world I wanted to be, literally, right? And so, and this is why I'm realizing I need to unpack what I mean when I say safe spaces over everything. Like, there are places that are so dangerous for Black folk, but we don't have to wake up there every day. There are school systems that are so dangerous for Black folk, but that does not mean it's better than homeschooling your kids and teaching them their history for real, right? Like there are jobs, right, that feel so suffocating for Black folk, but it does not mean that job is by any means better than the job you can have as an artist, as a creator, as a content developer. Like we have so much freedom to choose than we realize, right? When Blaze did our first WFA Immersion Week, work from anywhere, and I say abroad, right? Where literally brought founders on the continent for the first time ever to really simulate what life could be like. When I say they were shook at how easy it was to completely transform their environments and feel the best they've ever felt in their lives, right? And so we don't always realize how easy it is to tap into environments that don't feel as dangerous as and really aren't as dangerous as they are, right? But what I hope people take from this conversation, I mean, down to, the freedom your kids have in their living rooms, like we're talking about, to the no's you say in your business because it does not align, to being anywhere in the world you want you and your family to be. Like, we have so much agency to make that decision because we don't have to be stuck in these situations.
I love that. My big dream is to world school my kids. And we throw them in the plane. We just hop around to different countries, world schooling. That's what my vision is. If I can get to the point where I can world school my kids. I think it's beautiful. I don't want to I understand how the burden of America, how all the trials and tribulations I have come to believe. I don't want to teach my kids that same stuff. So I'm trying to unlearn it constantly. So I don't try to embed that in them. For example, I was raised when I was younger, I want to be a doctor. I want to make good money. I want to have this freedom. I saw this kind of step ladder. I need to make this much money, get this job, work in this corporate America, do this thing. Blah, blah, blah. So I was kind of on that path to do that thing. I don't want my boys to absorb that. I don't want them to think I need to do something to make money, to pay my bills, to make things happen. So it doesn't matter what makes me happy, that ain't making me no money. So I can't do that. So I want to find a way to teach my boys, dream with your heart. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? You love playing with trucks and cars? Let's play with trucks and cars. Like I want to try to guide them to explore the world in a way. And while I'm guiding them, I'm guiding myself right with them. So we're all exploring the world in a way that we enjoy it and not chasing the dollar bill.
Period. Right. And I think that, the technology that we have today, and that the generations to come will have, it has changed the game for what can be, right? Like, it literally does not matter where you live now in the world. If you have a website that is running, literally, right? Exactly. Anybody around the world can consume your stuff. Anybody that's aligned to your passion will pay dollars, right? Without having to give you cash and buy raffle tickets from the trunk. The world has changed, right? And then when Web3 becomes mature, right now I'm happy to be one of those builders. Like, we're still building what it looks like, but literally in Web3, you will stand beside somebody in China and close business deals while listening to music.
Mm.
There are no bounds. There are no bounds. So I love that. I love that we're having this conversation right now, Doc, because I think it's going to plant important seeds, not just in the founders that are listening, right? But like in the way they train their kids and teach their kids, because ain't no limits, dog.
Yes, none. Like at the end of the day, the only boundary that exists is the one in your head. That's it. Whatever you want, it will happen. I'm trying to think that The Secret. That like I think that take the time, read The Secret, go watch Secret on YouTube. It just talks about there's a secret where whatever you believe is what becomes true, and behave like whatever you think is going to happen is going to happen. And the thing I know that got me a little bit is that I've experienced it before. Okay, I'll tell you, give you an example. I experienced the power of The Secret. I was I'm trying to think when this started. I had just got divorced. I was divorced, and we were selling our house and doing all that stuff. And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "I want 2 kids. I want a husband that loves me and that pours into me and cooks all my food." And I said, I want 2 boys. I was just over here manifesting what I wanted. I said, and I want a beautiful company. So I'm manifesting all this stuff. All this stuff happened. Because there's that power of when you operate the way you want to operate, all this stuff happened. I hopped on Tinder. I said, I need to find me a man. Let me go swipe. I found my husband that way. People, that's how I found him. And me and him have so much in common. Like when you manifest what's going to happen, when you believe what's going to happen, you are your only boundary. The only thing that stops you is you. Now, I understand that society operates in a way where it will try to stop you. I get that. For Black folks in society, they will be trying to throw things at you all the time. But I try to structure my life in a way where all that stuff they're throwing, I'm trying to keep it far away from me. I live in a Black community. I live in a Black suburban community with Black folks. So I don't see all that racist stuff thrown at me all the time. So I try to create an environment in this messed up world where I get what I still need to get to push forward what I need to push forward.
That's good. And that's the truth, right? Like we have the ability to structure what we want. This is in large part, right? And I will continue to heal from some things. And at times I'll be able to stay in the US for longer stints, right? But I recognize, right, that I don't even want to be susceptible to the things that trigger me, right? Me being on the continent and surrounded by culture that feels like home is intentional, right? Me hiring people to do things like laundry and clean up and yada, 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 so that I don't have to feel overly stretched in my business, right? Is intentional. Me having a whole gang of Black women that I can lean on and talk to who understand versus the people that are like, girl, why weren't you staying your comfortable, you know? So I think that's good. And Ashe, I'm so happy that you manifested the love that you deserve, sis, and exactly what you wanted. Like, it's funny the parallels I see in our story. Like, you know, November of 2020, I wrote down, I'm divorced too, so hurt, right? I was so broken from that situation, but you know, 4 years later, I was ready to love again. And I wrote down a prayer that all the things I wanted. I'm talking about down to like, I want to travel the world, forests and parking lots with this man. I want to feel like so many things, right? Like in very specific detail. And a month later, I met my soul's flame in Zanzibar on a solo trip. And since then, we have been inseparable, literally around the world, building businesses. He cooked I every day, all the meals, you know, like so much ease and safety and room for me. There's so much, I've never felt this much space in a relationship before, in any type of relationship. There's so much space for me. So Ashe, amen. And I think this is a testament, you know, to the women who are listening, who haven't seen these stories before. Well, now you've seen 2, and it's real.
And even the divorce was saying no.
Yeah.
No, the emotional work I had to do to get past saying no and leaving a marriage. What people are gonna say about me? Oh, you committed to this, you're not doing it, blah, 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 blah. I had to fight through all that. I said, no, it's not serving me. And I wrote a blog about it. I said, he's a fantastic man. He didn't cheat on me. He didn't lie to me. He didn't beat me. He didn't do none of the things that would make it worthy for me to leave. I just wasn't happy. And I'm sorry, I wasn't happy. And that's not, my happiness is paramount. If I'm not happy, it's not meant for me to be here. So I left saying no. I said no. So I said, no, this, you were not meant for me. But in the beauty of saying no is you say yes to yourself. You say
Yes.
no to something else, but you say yes to yourself.
Reimagining the gravity of no. Ashe.
Mhm.
Ashe. So, I love who you are personally, right? But I love how you carry this authority, right, over to the way you show up in business and in your industry. You definitely raise the standard of what we should expect and how we should move through the world, right? You ensure that your products are ethically sourced, and even more. And I think that's a purposeful way,
Yes.
right, of setting standards for humanity. Though it's not talked about a lot, you really do introduce purpose in everything that you do. So can you please shed light on the things that we should be more conscious of as we choose companies that receive our money, and or business?
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, it was the kind of the same answer I said is what's right for me may not be right for you. So you have to figure out what aligns with your personal ethos. Everyone has a different personal ethos. So a couple of things that are important to me. Black owned businesses are at the top of my list. I try to support Black owned businesses any way that I can. And Black owned Airbnbs, Black owned hotels, Black owned products. That is a very important part of my ethos. All natural and plant based is another important part of my ethos. I believe that God gave us plants and gave us everything we need to survive. I think when humans get involved in stuff and they start mixing and maxing and throwing all these chemicals in it, stuff can get in it'll make you sick, it'll kill you. And so I want to get things as natural to the ground as possible. So another part of my ethos is that I want plants. I want a garden. I want to make sure I can go out and see my kale growing up and go eat my kale. That's important to me. So knowing what's important to you will help you know how you want to interact with the world. So knowing that's important to me, I love farmers markets. I love going to see who's growing my food, who's getting it, where I'm doing it from. Now I have a little bit of land in the back. We have a little mini garden back there where we're growing our own thing because that's important to me. And I don't want to consume all this crazy stuff that was made in the lab. That's not a part of what I want to do. I want to eat natural. And so that's also something else that's important to me. So outlining what matters to you, small is also something that matters to me. If I can't find a Black owned business, I want it to be a small owned business. So a large corporation don't feel good to me. Big, large corporations in general just don't feel good to me. So I try to support them small as I can. So just outlining what matters to you and then trying to spend your money in places that align with that. So when you look around my house and you look around the things I buy, you look at what I'm investing in, it seems like it's in line with what I believe in. If my house seems like a disconnect with what I'm talking about, then something is not in alignment there. And I want to make sure I'm in alignment with everything I'm purchasing. Even my clothes, I go and buy my clothes from the secondhand store because if people have already used them, I can just reuse them. So even to me, that's a way for me to invest back in and be natural and be sustainable. I don't have to get all stuff all brand new, all new. Like I can go get something really cute. I got some really cute pants from a secondhand store. I just got them tailored. The things are popping. So just looking and trying to align my actions with my beliefs. But the first step is, what do you believe? And I have been surprised and shocked at people who typically do not know that. They don't know what's important to them. They don't know what they believe in because they have been living in a world where other folks around them, their parents or their friends or society has shaped their beliefs in a way that they haven't shaped their own. So I think that's the first step, is know what matters. Go spend time alone. When you're just alone, sitting in your car or alone in yoga mat, just think about what feeds you.
I just want us all to pause for a beat on this, right? And absorb this and listen to all of the things that our bodies are saying to us right now, right? Dr. Christian's done a beautiful job of affirming us to ask. She asks over and over and over again throughout these examples, what do you believe in? What feels good to you, right? Do you know what feels good to you? And she gave several examples of how she spends her seconds of her day, like leaning into the things, right, that reflect her beliefs. So I want us to slow down, right, and think about this right now. Feel it. And whatever is coming up, don't push it down. Yes, you have the authority to say yes to those things, and you have the authority to say no to the things that aren't in alignment. That's so good. Even for myself, like I'm having to pause right now and acknowledge all of the things that were coming up as you spoke life into me, right? And to consciously say yes to doing those things and adopting those behaviors.
Yes.
So good. Thank you so much for that response, Ashe. So, honing in on your brand, Black and Green, it is truly a phenomenal brand that is powered by all Black women brands. I love that. From your ethics to your aesthetic to your messaging, you are setting a new precedent for our ability to access non-toxic Black products for our bodies and our homes. Dr. Christian, how does it feel to have made it this far while being so anchored, right, in the sound principles and deep impact that you care so much about?
Oh gosh, how does it feel? To be totally honest, it feels up and down because I have good days and I have bad days. I have days when my sales are amazing and I have days when my sales are low. And I feel my emotions coming up. And I ask myself, why, Kristen? Why are your sales being low making you make a reaction to that? Or is your sales the reason why you started your business? And I say, no, that's not why you started it. You started to support Black women. So why does that matter? And I said, okay, the reason why that matters is I'm wondering, do they still need this? And so I'm looking at my sales as a reflection of need. Because in my brain, if they need this, the sales will come through. Because at the end of the day, Black and Green does not have a single investor. Black and Green purchases all our products from Black women, own brands, and we sell them. The only way we stay open is if Black women are purchasing products from Black and Green. And so I said, okay, that's the reason why you're getting nervous, is because you're worried that if your sales start to drop, that you might be pushed to close the door. And that is what makes you frightful. I said, okay, so that's where the fear comes from. So I did not start Black and Green to make money. I don't need to make money. I was talking to my accountant the other day. I said, if we broke even, if my expenses and my income were even zero, I would be happy. I said, that's all I want. I wanted to be even. And she's like, girl, you can make a little bit of money. So why can't Black women make money? I said, Black women can make money, but in my brain, I don't want Black women to give me their money. I said, there's big corporations out here, let them give me their money. But I don't want to take all the money from Black folks. I need to work through that some more. But right now, my brain is not being pushed on trying to get the money from them. I said, yeah, I need the money, but not from my audience. So I'm trying to work that through with her. At the end of the day, I just want us to break even. When I feel like we aren't breaking even, that's when my nervousness comes up, that I'm worried that we will be able to keep the doors open if women don't believe enough in my mission to purchase for Black and Green. When Black Green started in 2017, a lot has changed. Since then, 15% pledge, where a lot of marketplaces have made a commitment to put Black products on their shelves. And so you can walk into the Walmarts and Targets of the world and buy Black-owned products. Back when I started Black and Green, you couldn't do that. And I have seen my sales drop. I don't know if it's because of that, but I just have seen my sales drop. And so I need to find intentional customers who will continue to support Black and Green, even though honestly, we're a little bit harder. If you need a shampoo, you can just run up to Target and get it. It's easier probably just run up and get it. But if you're buying where we can ship it to you, then we got you then. We got you. So I need an intentional buyer who can wait a couple of days to get something shipped to her, to still invest in Black and Green, and knowing by her investing, her shopping with us is going to help me keep the doors open at the end of the day.
Ashe, and heard you loud and clear. I see the comments going off. Everybody has heard you, and I want to speak into her right now. I want to speak into that woman, even that little girl on the inside of you that may be a little fretful of a lot of things, right? Things shutting down, maybe fretful of what growth looks like, right? Maybe fretful of what it would mean if the world knows your name. And I want to tell you that you are so worthy of overflow, and it is coming. You are so worthy of the world knowing your name, and it is coming. You are needed. People are yearning for you. You are who they are waiting for. Your name, your brand, your style, your aesthetic, your stamp of approval, right? And keep going. This is nowhere near the ceiling. Corporations are going to look to you to get to us, period. Yep. That is going to happen. So Ashe, and thank you for being so vulnerable with that answer. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's truly an honor to slow down and hold space in such an intimate conversation, or an organic conversation with you, Dr. Kristen. You are truly carving out a much needed space in the market for Black women and our families. As we wind this down, right, I want to know, what are the things that we can do collectively to show up for you and your business?
I love that question. I always tell people there are a lot of ways to support small and owned brands. The first one is, of course, buy their products. But after you buy their product, leave a review. That's so powerful. I was just talking to Yelp. That Yelp is saying a big issue that they have is their people are looking for Black-owned products. They're looking for Black-owned vendors, but Black-owned vendors and Black-owned products tend to not have reviews. And unfortunately, people pick product and pick places to go based off of reviews. So I wanted to leave a review. When you have a very positive experience with something, leave a review. I think that my experience has been, we only leave reviews when we have a negative experience, and that pushes us to leave a review. I wanted to change that and leave reviews when we have positive experiences, because by us doing that, we're investing in that brand to be able to go and to thrive, because we now left them a very positive review and attach a video and attach a picture depending on what your background is. So leaving reviews is very, very important. A new project I'm working on with Black and Green is I've been trying to sell directly to consumers since 2017. A new project I'm working on, I'm actually very excited about, is partnering with people who are planning retreats, so retreat planners or corporations or small businesses that are doing holiday gift boxes. And now I found out a lot of companies are doing employee gifting, where I guess employees are trying to keep their people from leaving and starting their own company. So now they're trying to invest more into the employees, which I just learned about this. So a lot of the companies are giving their employees a monthly box of different things. So now I'm working with these corporations who are putting together monthly boxes. Now I'm putting together monthly boxes of Black and Green products to send to their employees. I'm very excited about that. And so if I can get more connections with, when you are running a business, or connections to people running a business, that I can help me work with them to kind of curate a box for them to give to their employees, or any kind of gifting you want to give to your staff, you want to give to your businesses, you want to give to your clients. I had a client I'm working with now. She said, I want to send a box for the holidays to my top 5 clients. And so she went through my my website, picked out products that she thought she would like. I'm putting those boxes together. I'm going to ship them right to her clients. So these kind of ideas, I think, is going to push Black and Green forward. Although I may not get the same sales on every day, now I can make these kind of partnerships with brands, because the beauty of Black and Green is I have a variety of products. You can get a candle, you can get a shampoo, you can get a tea, you can get a body bath. Most places you cannot do that. So I am giving you the space to pick a variety of goods to put in a box for the holidays.
I love that. And I would love to partner with you. Please put my name on the list for boxes. I'm sending boxes to my top clients, right, on the consulting side, and anybody that refers those clients to me. So we're literally in the process of shopping for those. So we'll be working with you. We have international retreats where I heavily gift the founders that come. And so I'm going to reroute that business to you as well. And I'm excited about everything else that will come. So yeah, y'all follow suit. This is incredible. I love these thoughts. I love these ideas. And yeah, it should start with us. So thank you for telling us how we can show up for you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I value that a lot. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are truly, I mean this, we are truly locked in with you, Dr. Kristen. Thank you so much. So before we wrap, please tell everyone how they can find your business, how we can all stay abreast of the incredible things you're doing in the world, and anything else you want to leave us with.
Absolutely. So my business website is www.blkgrn.com. All my handles and all the social medias is BLK and GRN. So you can find us on everything. Instagram, Facebook. I'm on the fence if I'm going to stay on Twitter or not. We'll see. Yeah, we might be pulling our Twitter down. I have not made a decision yet, but Twitter might be gone soon. We on Pinterest, we on YouTube. So you can find us in all those places. And our website is www.blkgrn.com.
All right, ladies. So that was a fireside chat with Dr. Kristen Edwards. There were a whole lot of ideas in the chat about how we can support her. And so I'm just going to ask the usher, okay, Yvonne, and you can delegate to somebody else if you want to. Yvonne, I would ask that you start a blank Google sheet, okay, that you make shareable, openable by anybody, and drop it in the feed, so that all of these ideas that we all have about ways that she can expand her business. I saw a lot of things, subscription boxes, I saw targeting artists and all of these things, right? Please do drop a link to a Google Sheet, and Yvonne's going to drop that in the feed, and you all just add your ideas, Yvonne, if you want, or please do drop, put in a name and an email address column too, so that if Dr. Kristen wants to reach out to anybody to follow up on anything, that she can. But I definitely want to pass along all of these ideas from the tribe to her. I will say that I'm so happy she told us what she needs, and Blaze was already planning to buy holiday gift baskets from other people, right? From companies that I'm sure aren't Black owned. Anyway, because it's just a beautiful thing to do for a lot of the people that show up for us. And because she said what she needed, she got our coins instead. Okay. And we've never been able to give stuff that was full of stuff from Black women entrepreneurs. So it's really, really dope. So for those of you who are consultants, so Blaze has a consulting arm. We have a couple of huge clients, right? We were able to leverage her for those gifts. Okay. So that's an idea for you all that actually schmooze people, right? And gift them. Definitely lean into her. All right. So, and if you're interested in doing something like that, put that on the Google Sheet as well. We are going into our next session, which is, okay, it is Activism is Calling. It is a workshop. Have your pens and your paper. Shawty that's coming up. Her name is Marcasa from Milwaukee. Honey is not the same out there in Milwaukee. So we are learning from a real, I want to call her a street fighter. She's super dope and super about it. Okay. So if you have ever thought about activism, show up here. Okay. And then after that session, because we are winding down the day, we get the preacher coming back. Anika is coming back with a Blaze talk by the name of Cozy, might I suggest, ... And then we're on the second half of the day, okay? And then we're going to have Nefertiri give us our journal wind down for today. And I hope you all are feeling gradually higher. That was always the intent because we're putting burdens down, right? Nobody said it was going to be easy, but the only way through it is through it. Y'all have continued to show up and you're actually getting through it, not crawling on top of it, not squeezing to the side, not crawling under it, but y'all are going through it and you have trusted the process, right? And today, every day, I hope that you feel this is lighter, it's easier, okay? So today, this is Neff's last journal winding down. Cause y'all gonna be okay for the next 2 days. I promise you. That's how this process is. Okay. This is her last journal wind down with us. Okay. And it's gonna be called chakra alignment. Okay. All right. So let's head over to the workshop session. Activism is calling with our girl Makasa. See you on the other side.
Hello, hello, hello. Good day, good day. My name is Marquesa Tucker Harris, and the workshop that you have entered is called Activism is Calling. Super excited to be with you all here today. Such an amazing opportunity for each of us to share our gifts, our talents, our skills, and all the things that God has given us to present out into the world. So I'm happy to be here with you all. So the title of my workshop is called Activism is Calling. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a business called Marquesa Harris Consulting. That's the logo you see to the left. And then the organization that I'm executive director of, the African American Roundtable, to your right. This picture you see front and center is me standing in front of a mural here in Wisconsin. It's actually in a suburb outside of Milwaukee called West Dallas. And if you look to the left, you see someone kind of with a scarf hanging and draping down. That's me on a mural. And it's so exciting to be doing the work here in Milwaukee. All right, so some of the objectives for today. You're gonna get to know who I am, why this workshop. I'm gonna share my story to activism, define activism, and then ask you the question, is activism calling you? And what can it look like? Get ready, get your beverages, get your pen, get your paper, and let's get started. All right, let's start with who am I? I like to share where I'm from. I am the granddaughter of Lonnie and Ruby Mae Tucker, hailing from Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Do we have anybody out there that's from Mississippi? Where my father and his 10 siblings grew up picking cotton as a small child. I am the granddaughter of Clarence and Frankie Lee Funches, hailing from Hollandale, Mississippi, where my mother and her 12 siblings grew up as sharecroppers' children, also picking cotton. God knew what generation to put me in. Both of my parents were children when Emmett Till was murdered by white vigilantes. Activism has been calling me before I was born, y'all, when my parents weren't able to speak up and fight for themselves, and I'm so happy to pick up this torch and do so. I am also the mother and daughter, sister and cousin, TT, godmother, and a daughter of God. The picture in the center are my parents and my daughter, Zoe Isabella. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I grew up near the suburbs where my parents planted themselves after wanting to be far as possible as they could from poverty in the Central City. You know, coming up through the Great Migration in the 70s, they wanted to be far away from poverty, but also they wanted to get away from Jim Crow laws and the mess that was going on in the South, right? Only to come to Milwaukee and be in more mess. Milwaukee, I won't say wasn't any better, but we definitely have our own issues. I grew up pretty privileged. I have to say that we were blessed to live a pretty comfortable life for the most part. My parents worked full-time jobs. My father worked in a factory. My mother worked in corporate America, and they own real estate throughout the Central City. So we've had those multiple streams of income all my life. Grew up in an area where it was a mixed neighborhood, Black, white people, older people, homeowners. So just an amazing place to grow up and live, but definitely far away from the Central City. Let me tell you a little bit more about Wisconsin, Milwaukee, where I'm from. Wisconsin is known to be the worst place for Black people to live. An UCLA report finds that K-12 schools in Wisconsin suspend Black high school students at a higher rate than anywhere else in the country, and has the second highest disparity in suspension rates, white and Black students. Milwaukee has the state's biggest city, suspends Black high school students at a rate nearly double the national average. It's unfortunate that, they say that Milwaukee and Wisconsin is the worst place for a Black person and to raise your Black children. Wisconsin's budget allots more funding for corrections than it does for higher education. Wisconsin also incarcerates most Black men in the country. There's a specific zip code that people talk about. More than half of the Black men in their 30s and 40s have served time. And in the 53206 zip code alone, 62% of all men have spent time in an adult correction facility by the age 34. So disturbing, so heartbreaking. A report from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee links the state's massive Black prison population to sentencing and policing policies that disproportionately affect Black people. Milwaukee is said to be the most segregated city in the country. This is where I'm from, y'all. Can you see why activism had to call me? So let me tell you a little bit more about myself before I get into the activism story. I left Milwaukee, went to Grambling State University, and thought, hey, maybe I will go and matriculate in mass communication. So I got my bachelor's of art because I thought I wanted to be the next Cheryl Miller. If you're not familiar with her, she's Reggie Miller's sister, an NBA basketball player who was a sports commentator. I didn't see a lot of Black women sports commentating. I thought, maybe I'll go and do that. So I did that, and I quite honestly have to tell y'all that this was something I wanted to do. Maybe not what God called me to originally, but I thought, why not try it? Amazing time of my life in Grambling. So I graduated and I came back to Milwaukee. I came back to Milwaukee and thought, let's get it in. Let's get into these media jobs so I can become a sports writer. I thought, whatever way I can get in the door. So I began working as a radio producer for a sports and news program, then got a part-time job at an assignment desk as an assignment desk editor at an ABC affiliate, WISN, and later got a full-time job at a CBS affiliate doing the same thing as an assignment desk editor. You kind of sit at a desk, you listen to all the scanners, you share where reporters should go, where photographers should go to cover the news. After getting that job at CBS 58, the ABC affiliate called me back and said, hey, we want you to come and work full-time. So I did, again, still at the assignment desk. But I realized as I tried to put together what they call a newsreel, it was not coming to me very well. And I'm a go-getter, so anything I put my hands to, I can pretty much do. But that thing was not happening. And so I decided to leave. I also realized that news was a farce. Like the whole thing around news was just a farce, like trying to get the news first. And the news that we're getting out was terrible news. Like it wasn't helping people. So I decided to leave and went into daycare. I went and worked at a child care center. How did I get there? Actually, a girlfriend of mine who I met in media owned a daycare center. She left media and said, hey, do you want to come and get some management experience? And I thought, why not? Let's try it. Lord, I don't know what you have for me, but I'm willing to try. I would say while I was there, I really, really, really was exposed to the trauma and all the situations, the horrible environment that people in Milwaukee were living in. I saw the trauma of parents, children, childcare workers, men and women, and the issues to get in the childcare system, right? To get the childcare hours. Parents are trying to go to school, they're trying to go to work, they don't have enough hours. Children being suspended, only to really figure out that these children are dealing with mental health issues. They're in crisis, right? And suspending them and sending them to the daycare is not the help that they needed. So I knew that was a wake-up call for me. I want to be actually a part of changing the environment, changing the landscape, changing the conditions in my city. I didn't know, but activism was calling me there as well. So I left daycare in 2018, and I went to go work at my first nonprofit job. So I went from corporate to nonprofit. And if any of you all know, corporate and nonprofit is like day and night. And so I had to get used to that. But when I left there, I went and became an office manager. I love, organizing and putting things together and making sure paperwork, all the T's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. And this organization, Wisconsin Voices, worked with a bunch of different community organizations. And I thought, this will be my way in, right? This will be a way for me to volunteer maybe in an organization and learn about what they do and possibly connect to an issue that's close to my heart. So I did that, got there in January 2014. April 30th, 2014, I remember hearing a Black man, Dontre Hamilton, the man to the right, was murdered by a cop. The cop to the left, Christopher Manny, in the middle of the day, across the street from City Hall, and he was shot 14 times. I remember sitting on the couch watching a protest and seeing his mom and his brothers and other people in the community responding. I had never been to a protest before. I had never done, anything that I considered activism, but I felt a pull. I literally felt a pull off my couch one day. I hopped in the car, went to a protest, and just told the family, hey, I don't know how I can help. I don't know what I can necessarily give, but I'm showing up. I'm showing up and I want to help. And that's when my activism started. Officially, I would say, because like I said, it's in my blood, but that's when it officially began. So thankful I answered the call, y'all. So I became an organizer and an activist and fought for families who had been affected by police violence. That's me to the left at that same park where Dontre was murdered, Red Arrow Park here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That was me leading a chant, and that's me to the right, supporting Dontre's mother, Maria Hamilton, at a different protest, speaking truth to power, talking about our demands, what we want, the type of city we want. And so it was a very, how do I describe it? It was a God divine moment in my life. This is me also. I fought for families like Jay Anderson. Jay Anderson was also murdered by a cop here in Wisconsin, actually a suburb right outside of Milwaukee called Wauwatosa. And that's me to the right wearing a shirt that says Justice for Jay. And then I also fought and continue to fight. These are just some of the families for Seville Smith. He's the person to the right holding his son. And that's me to the left at a common council meeting that we disrupted when we wanted to push back against a public safety plan that the city was trying to push on us without our input. I remember that day, just as clear as day. My activism had been activated at this point, y'all. So what is activism? I'm sure you've seen the protests, you've seen the rallies, you've seen people advocate. And according to the Activist Handbook, it says activism means collective efforts to create change from the grassroots. And when we say grassroots, we're talking about from the mud up. We're talking about the people who are closest to the issues. We're talking about the people in the communities, the people in the neighborhoods. You might often hear grass tops as well. And that's more like the community organizations and nonprofits who work from this structure of not being in the community, but having their hands in all of these different community issues, but not really knowing how it's truly affecting people. They don't have lived experiences either. They go on to say it's a term that can include anyone who wants to work collectively to create social change. You don't have to be an expert to do this. I wasn't, I went to school for mass comm. Remember, I didn't know anything about white supremacy. I heard of these things. I didn't know anything about, structural racism and all of these other things. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to spend every waking minute trying to do activism. You just have to be a person who wants to create change with other people. So, is activism calling you? Where do you want to see change in your community? That's the question I ask. When I ask, is activism calling you? Where do you want to see change? There's so many opportunities and spaces and places where we can activate our skills. We can activate our passion. The things they say that most concern you are areas where you can begin your activism. Some might start it in what they call the so-called democracy, environment, justice for victims of violence like me, criminal reform, housing, transportation issues, ecology, climate change. All of these things are opportunities for people to dive in. Are you concerned about domestic violence? Are you concerned about, issues in education and in schools? These are also ways and places. Take a moment to pause. What are the areas that tick me off the most? Where do I want to see change? And ask yourself, is activism calling me? So, how do you begin this journey of activism? First, just say yes. Say yes. That's what I did sitting on the couch. I said yes. When I saw something that I didn't like, that I couldn't agree with, I couldn't get down with, something I knew was gravely wrong, I said yes. First thing that you can do after saying yes is find out who's fighting for the issue that you want to create change around. There's so many ways to get activated. There's people on Facebook, there's people on LinkedIn, there's people in your community. Go there, be with the people who are fighting for change. Google them. Like I said, find them on Facebook, get out in the community, go to nonprofits, especially grassroots organizations, neighborhood associations, some churches. Who and where can you find the people who care about the issues that you care about? When I say yes to activism, I didn't necessarily know what I needed to know. Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? So what did I do? Next thing is, let's get educated. Let's get educated. Let's get politicized. Let's get radicalized. Getting educated is easy as finding material to read, whether it's online. You can do old school, go to the library. You can read books on or listen to books on Audible, purchasing your own, and begin to educate yourself on the topic. Studying the topic with other people, those people that you're going to go build with. Sit down and say, let's do a book club. Let's break down some of these terms. I don't know what this means. We call this moment a moment of politicization and radicalization. It's the type of study and education we hope for the work as Black people, that what we need will lead to cultural, intellectual, action-oriented labor aimed at disrupting social, political, economic, and cultural norms, originating in this anti-colonial, anti-slavery efforts. We have the power within ourselves to do this work. This is also the type of study and education that not only resistance against the structures that are rooted in slavery, imperialism, and capitalism, but also the maintenance of ontology, which is cultural, traditional beliefs and values. From the ship revolts to maroon communities, from abolition to civil rights, from Black power to Black Lives Matter, the major goal we should be after is a strategic action to maintain the dignity of Black people that leads to liberation of our people, whatever the issue may be. There's no way that you can't say yes to this, ladies. You have to say yes. There's so many things that we could be doing in our communities. Your gifts are needed. So I remember after, going to a couple protests and, I'm like, man, I'm just eager to learn. And so they saw me kept showing up. They saw me kept, being hungry. And so the family, along with some of the, what we call core organizers, which I'll talk about core teams later, they brought me in and they said, hey, why don't you come to our core meetings and learn a little bit more about this work that we're doing? Okay, cool. I remember getting a binder about this thick from a guy named Curtis who was helping the family to organize. And we would have meetings for hours and hours. We'd be going through material. And that's where I was politicized. That's where I learned. I sat down with people and said, what can I do to raise my awareness, to raise my conscience so that I am knowledgeable of the things that I need to talk about? And that's not just a one time only. You're constantly, we're constantly educating ourselves. The conditions are constantly shifting on the ground. And we have to continue because we know the people, the white folks, we know what they're doing. They're constantly at the table, strategizing on ways to oppress us and keep us down. We too have to be on the cutting edge as well. And we can do that through education. Now that you've got some knowledge, you said yes, now you've got some knowledge. Now let's get organized. And this is to transform a group of individuals into a powerful movement. That's why we organize. We recommend you find, again, like-minded people and start organizing yourselves together around this thing that you care about. Like, I've told my daughter about it. I said, if you don't like something at school, organize around it. Talk to other people about it, see how they feel. And they said, you know what? I don't like that we don't get, movie nights, on the weekends, when we're away from school. I don't like that we don't get to have free lunch, or I don't like, something that they don't like. Organize around it. No matter whether you just decide to take the action or you like to improve something around you. And within organizing, you have to build the capacity. You have to grow the movement. You have to continuously be bringing people in. That's what we talk about when we say people power. You have to attract new people by making yourself, your values visible. And you can do that through the media and social media. There's different ways. There's all types of ways to get your movement out there. Create posters, be out on the corner, go to the places that you care about. And then you also have to keep those people engaged that you bring in. We often call that through a ladder of engagement. So you have these people who work the closest to the issue, who are doing a lot of the education, who are creating events, who are training other people. That's that core group of people. That's the group that I was a part of with the Hamilton family. That's usually consist of maybe 5, 10 to 20 people, just kind of depending on where you are. These people also run social media, maintain the websites, produce literature, graphics, flyers and things like that. And then there's a group, the next tier up, or next tier down, I would say, is active members, people who attend speeches, non-arrestable events. They do not organize the events or have a priority role in the organization or, your group, but are willing to march during protests, make phone calls, do text messages, and participate in art activism. And they'll show up because they know the need. They know that people power, when crowds show up, they know that that tends to get people's attention. And then there's another tier right under that. And that's more of like passive members, folks who support the movement, but haven't necessarily participated in actions that have been organized. They're generally are supportive online through peer-to-peer discussions. They'll share a link or a petition. So to continue to grow the capacity of your organization or your group, you need to convert those passive members to active members. It's so crucial because it continues to help the movement to grow. So as you grow, there's also opportunity to grow into what we call a coalition. So you have all of these members, whether they're active and, like I said, some passive in this core group, you begin to expand. Some people may not necessarily want to fight for all the demands, the very specific demands that you have, but they're willing to come around regarding a cause. And they call those sometimes campaigns, where there's a very specific thing that you guys want to fight for, whether it's a change in, I would say, something in education, something around the budget, the education budget system. They come together and they call that group a coalition, where it's like, oh, I work in this organization or I work in that organization, and we come together for like one common cause. When multiple groups and organizations come together to work on a campaign, they often opt to collaborate together as a coalition. Many coalitions come together to achieve a specific policy goal and develop a shared plan to achieve it. Then there's also this opportunity for knowledge sharing, like training. You have to be, once you have all these people in, you've grown it, how are you training them? How are you educating them? So you have to have spaces for education, study groups, to continue to increase the knowledge of the group. 4. So again, you said yes. You, you got, let me go back. You got educated and you got organized. So you're getting organized, but also developing a theory of change. We just can't be out here like organizing and not having our North Stars and how to get to the North Star. So the theory of change will help us get to the North Star, our goal, and ours is liberation for Black people. Theory of change is a campaign planning methodology that forces you to get specific about how social change happens. So it's the, if we take this action, then we'll achieve this goal because of these reasons. You start with the long-term goal of your campaign and then work backwards to identify all the conditions needed to achieve the goal. Next, you can get specific about the actions you can take to create those conditions. We call them tactics. Developing a theory of change can be particularly helpful during the early stages of campaign planning. It guides you to choose the right tactics to most efficiently achieve those outcomes, and helps you to avoid the common mistakes of jumping immediately into an action without connecting today's tactics with tomorrow's strategies. Like you just can't, and that's definitely been a problem in activism, where people just think that they can just jump in, not have the tools, not have the knowledge. Those kind of things won't last. That's definitely not what the Black Panthers did. That's definitely not what the civil rights activists did. They had plans. They were meeting those mass meetings, educating themselves. So an example of a theory of change is, if we divest and defund the police, then we'll build the systems and the infrastructures to keep us safe with those investments, because we've defunded the police and moved the resources to the community. Something very simple. Theory of change, y'all. Got to have a theory of change in this movement. Now it's time to get active. So if you see that picture there, you see I thought I was hired when I first came into activism. Y'all see me to the right, next to the young lady with the glasses on. That is NECA, that's myself. And then the guy right next to me, that's Curtis. That's the guy who politicized me. We were at, we might've been doing like a sit-in at the jail. Someone had maybe got arrested, or we were pushing back about our demands. So now that you got the education, you've come together with some people, you're helping to build the movement, you're bringing more people in, you guys have developed a theory of change, let's get out in the streets. So you don't have to, and to be honest, you don't have to have all the things in place to just be active, but make sure that this is a part of the journey for sure, early on. So let's challenge the system through disruption and disobedience. You can build alternatives through creation of new spaces for community. These are some of the things you can get active around. Change our culture through education, art, and awareness campaigns. And sometimes people work within the system through elections, lobbying, legal action, and financial pressure as well. Ways you can likely get active with your group who are organizing and flexing their activism will include protests. Protesting is a great way to attract the attention of the public, either by gathering a large crowd or by doing something out of the ordinary. So I don't know if you've seen like pop-ups where sometimes they're flash mobs. People go out and do these flash mobs. They stop in the middle of the street, block out all the traffic and, do some chants, do some dancing. Again, just another way to get the attention and get active around whatever your issue is you're fighting for. You can also get active in art. Activism can be beautiful by using creative tactics. You can make your own movement stand out from the crowd, creating posters, buttons, banners, music, have some swag, all types of ways to get engaged. There's also digital. There are many ways for digital activism. Some of them include sharing pictures and stories online, building a network, or sharing a certain hashtag, getting as many people as possible to sign a petition. We've got a petition going on right now where we're working to collect enough signatures to get the attention of our Common Council for participatory budgeting. Informational. Sometimes having a conversation is an option. Informational tactics are there to start a public debate about certain topics, in the hope that the outcome of the debate will lead to a societal change. So whether it's like this big community meeting where you got the mayor coming or other city officials. This can also include door-to-door knocking, literature drops where you've got some of your printed information that you want to leave at the doors, giving some people something to read about, something to learn about, something to get curious about. You can also do it through journalism, including blogs and op-eds. Institutional activism. By joining existing institutions, one can make change happen. I say sometimes within the system. These days it's becoming harder and harder to be within the system. Institutional tactics create societal change while following the rules of an existing system. And that's what makes it hard, because we know the existing systems and the status quo were not built to help us. So institutional ways you can get involved is voting. It's voting season right now. Running for office and or becoming a part of a judicial system. And then there's this other way that we're all familiar with, financial, hit them where it hurts. Think about the Montgomery boycott or divesting from the system completely and going to building your own alternatives. So these are some of the ways that you can get active. Again, protests, art, digital, informational. And informational could also just be talking to somebody in your family, who's in your circle. Get them fired up about it. Let's talk a little bit about what can happen, though, as activism is calling. This work is hard, y'all. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard. So you need to prioritize yourself and others' well-being through this self-care and communal care. I know we hear the term self-care all the time. Sometimes it's very loosely used, but we have to ensure that we're taking care of ourselves and creating space for others to care for themselves as well. Self-care and communal care can be defined as those activities that are done to improve your and those around you's daily life. That improvement can be emotional, mental, social, spiritual, or physical. So some of the ways, I have some things listed here of ways that you can actually care for yourself. And I'm sure some of these are familiar. Disengage from social media. It is okay not to engage with trolls or just to take a break, period. Take a break from your phone. Take a break from watching the news. I don't even watch the news anymore. I go and find my own news, but watching the 5, 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock news, it just was not good for my mental health. So I've disengaged. Give yourself permission to say no. Who's still working on saying no? I know that I am. I have to continuously remind myself that you can't do it all and the work is going to be there. And that's why it's so important for me to develop leaders. Because we need to share this load of the work, but we also need to take rest. We need to take a bath. We need to go get our nails done. We need to go have lunch. We need to go and experience joy. So honor your body's needs. Eat, drink water, repeat, joy, take a nap, and do it all over again. And invite others into that. Find your community of folks that will affirm your experience and love on you. Practice lots of love. Expand yourself out. Get a therapist. Let's not be taboo about it anymore. Get a therapist. And just breathe. How will you know if you're not getting the self-care you need? Here's some things that could cause burnout. Feeling burdened by responsibilities and pressures. I definitely was there probably just last week. You're having difficulty sleeping. I've definitely been there where it's like I'm waking up in the middle of the night and the to-do list is calling me more than the pillow is calling me. Working long hours. I've been listening to Tricia Hersey, Rest is Resistance. Man, she said, go and take a nap. Go take a nap. Like we're working these long hours. She said, there's nothing cute about the grind culture. Why are we grinding? We weren't created to grind. We were created to be. Experiencing physical problems like exhaustion, stomach aches, backache, like all of these colds lingering, your body needs to sleep and recharge and refresh. If God had the Sabbath, so do we. Who do we think that we are? Being absent-minded or forgetting appointments, deadlines, or personal possessions. Again, that was just me a couple of weeks ago. A whole appointment I was supposed to get ready for 10 days before the appointment, looked at the paper. I'm dotting all of the I's and crossing all the T's at work. But when it came to my own personal health, I missed the mark. I was beginning to experience burnout. So I took some days off and took care of me. Being easily annoyed by another person's demands or stories about their activities, feeling used or unappreciated, feeling detached, feeling both useless, feeling like you cannot afford to stop and eat or hydrate. These are signs that you're probably burned out. So again, if you're going to say yes to the call of activism, remember, yes, it's hard work. Yes, it can be demanding. Yes, there's so many needs, but you have to have the harmony of taking care of yourself. And then again, ensuring those around you are also shared in communal care. So as I begin to wrap up, let's review. I got to tell you about who I was, why this workshop to specifically share my story to activism. I also define activism for you all. And then I asked you the question, is activism calling you? And then I share what it can look like and how you can get involved. I so hope this has your wheels spinning, your heart pumping, and your mind running. What can I do? What can I begin to do? Who can I begin to gather with? What can I get educated about? Where do I want to see societal change? We're not just here on the planet to get married, have babies, go on trips. We're here to change the conditions on the ground. We're here as a gift to other people. What are you gifting people with? Where will you leave your mark? I appreciate you all, and I'm looking forward to the panel and questions to come ahead.
So good, Marquesa. Thank you so much, sis. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know why my camera is not working.
Take your time, sis. Take your time. People are lighting it up with hand claps and hearts and comments. There's a lot of questions for you, Mama. Thankfully, we have 18 minutes to get through these questions, so y'all do not hold back. I promise to work to get through as many as possible. But Marquesa, you really did break down like the tactical approach to being successful at this thing, where it's not just a viral moment, but it is literally a sustainable movement. So thank you so much for the vocabulary and the strategy you gave in your workshop, Mama.
You're welcome. I don't know what to do. It says AirMe has access to your camera from your browser. Other applications are not using your camera. There's nothing else using my camera. Oh, I don't know what to do, but I'm here. I'm here.
We feel your spirit, sis.
Okay, good.
I'm going to start rolling the questions, okay, Mama?
All right.
Okay. So first one is from Anika Jones, and she asks, what specific documents should there be in place, or do you recommend if we're organizing from ground zero? I'm gonna say that again. What specific documents should there be in place, or do you recommend if we're organizing from ground zero?
Yes, thank you, Anika Jones from Dallas. I appreciate the question. So some very basic things is if you're going to be organizing, you're going to have some meetings. So what does that look like? You got to have some agendas, right? You have to have some basic agendas. And so some of the things that I love to have in agendas that I learned from one of the most amazing facilitators on the planet, Adrienne Maree Brown, is start with just the opening, a welcome, and a check-in. How are people doing? Whether it's a one-word check-in or whether it is a question that you want to ask. How are you doing? What's going on? How's your family? How's your spirit? How's your soul? Always tell people what's in the agenda. Hey, let's do a review of the agenda. Here's what's going on. Always establish community agreements. How are we governing ourselves while we're in this space? Are we telling people, hey, feel free to go to the restroom, take breaks? We actually don't want phones in the space. We like this to be a space of confidentiality and trust. Set some ground rules. You can bring some to the space, and you can also ask people to bring their own as well. Then, of course, what's the meat? What is the purpose? What are you doing in this meeting? Have that space for that topic, have space for feedback, and also give people opportunity. One of the rules that we or community agreements we like to have is the step up, step back. So if you're a person who talks a lot while you guys are engaging in that deeper topic, make sure you ask people to step back and then ask people to step in and engage those who might be quiet. Always make sure that there's a note taker. Make sure that there's a timekeeper. And then make sure that you're able to share back with people maybe some of the high themes of what came out of the big topic. Have the person who's taking notes, make sure they're documenting that. Then take some time to say, hey, here are the things we accomplished. You should also have objectives as well in your meeting. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. And so at the end, you can go through it. Did we meet these objectives? Did we talk about these things? And don't feel bad if you don't get to all of the things, because guess what? Sometimes you won't. Adrienne Maree Brown also teaches us make space for the conversation that is happening in that space with those particular people at that moment. Let that be and let it breathe. And then, of course, at the end, give people to check out. Don't just wrap up the meeting and, the whole voice they hear was just yours as you facilitated. Give people space to say what their experience was like. Yeah, I had a great time. It could be a one-word checkout. It could be something else, but give people an opportunity to continually be flowing in the conversation and throughout the meeting. And then try to close relatively on time. Respect people's time. They appreciate it. So I would say one of the basic things you can have is have an agenda, have a sign-in sheet, and then start those one-on-ones with your people because you got their phone number now, you got their email, and now it's time to engage them in conversation. Hey, who are you? What are your interests? And then move them into the work.
So good. So good. Thank you so much for that thorough response. We have another question, Marquesa, from Wendy. And Wendy asks, activism is heavy. How do you stay grounded?
Juicy question. How do I stay grounded? I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with God. I don't do anything on my own. He's my source of my strength. And I have to start my day with him. That's where I pull supernatural strength. I don't have to put on a cape. All I got to do is get on my knees, and all I got to do is go to my word and get my wisdom. But along with that, I also take breaks. I'm actually preparing to be on a break right now. So excited. Y'all, I'm going to be off from Monday, December 12th through January 16th. I'm not going back to the office till January 17th. So when I say breaks and rest, like one word that God constantly gives me is like rest. I need you to rest. I need you to rest. I need you to rest. Like the answers are already inside of you. You don't have to dig. You don't have to rehearse. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to pull it from here. You don't have to have 50 million meetings to get to it. The answers are inside of you. So taking breaks, rest, learning to say no. Again, turning off social media, turn off the news sometimes, and also boundaries. Boundaries with your mama, boundaries with your kids, boundaries with your husband, boundaries with everybody, because you need your own personal space to breathe. You need your own personal space to just be. Again, you have to have opportunities to just be. So take a break, whatever your spiritual practice is, ensure that you're getting that. Communal, fun, social time, like balance it out. You can't be all work. One key ingredient I just recently told some of my homegirls is like, I have to have girl time. I love my husband. I love my children. I love my work, but I love social time. So give me some social chill time, some downtime. And then I also would say food and practicing Black joy. Those also keep me grounded. Like, give me some good food and make sure I got some good music and make sure that I have some Black joy somewhere up in the space, and show me all the baby pictures and give me all the baby cheeks to pull and love. So give me my niece and give me my nephew. Those are the things that keep me grounded.
I love it. Super, super dope. Okay. And the next one is coming from Aaron. And Aaron says, I hate watching the news as well. Where do you get your information from? P.S. I just finished State of Emergency by Tamika Mallory.
Yeah. So, people in the community, the people know that the people carry the news. We're constantly, in communication with people, whether it's through Signal app, which is an app on your phone that you can have some encrypted conversation. So it's really being engaged with the people on the ground. You're always going to know what's going on in your community if you're in touch with the people in your community. And so people are texting me. And when I do go on social media, when I'm not on breaks, I'm utilizing social media. Like, there are people in the community that I know are in the know. I know that they're in the news. And then also just sometimes it's doing your own research. YouTube, you can definitely find some good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, TikTok has some stuff too. You know what I'm saying? You have to eat the meat and spit out the bones. But sitting down and watching CNN, CBS, NBC, I'm not going to do that. But what I will sometimes do is go and just see top lines. I'm not going to dig too far into the stories. I also find neighborhood news sources. So there's a neighborhood news source in Milwaukee called Neighborhood News Service. They do more community oriented news. There's a Black woman, Nakia Stone. She has a paper called Carved in Stone. And then guess what? Create your own news. Like, my organization, we're hoping to get a youth podcast started, and they're going to be doing the news. You know what I'm saying? So give people options, find out in the community who's got the know, who's got their ear to the ground. Stay connected to those people, create opportunities to create your own news, write your own news, your own blogs, find out people in the community who are writing their own blogs, who are doing social media lives, who are talking to people about what's happening in the community. And then, like I said, when you have to dip your nose in or tip your tippy toe in, go read some top lines or go search for the things that are of interest to you and disengage when necessary. Disengage.
Ashay, you off the chain, Marquesa. Okay.
I wish I could get this camera working. I'm so salty.
Girl. Uh, um, if you want to go out and refresh your browser and come back in, you can. Now I can't answer their questions, okay? But we will wait on you, okay?
No. I'm gonna keep it going because I mean, y'all can see my profile picture, and I want to make sure I get all the questions answered and take the time that I said I was gonna take. So I'll be good.
Ashay. Okay, so the next one is from Andrea. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, Mamacita. And she asks, Are you on more than Twitter? What are your other social handles?
Yeah, so first of all, y'all, I have two phones. I have a work phone and then I have a personal phone. I just recently lost my personal phone like a month ago and I've been protesting buying a new one. So I'm really not on Facebook because I haven't logged in from my personal phone because I don't have one. But I am on social media and it's my name, Marquesa Tucker Harris. I'm on Facebook. And Instagram, I'm on there again, just very rarely. And that's the THE, the number one alternative. I'll put it in the chat. But again, it's very rare, guys, that I'm on Instagram, Facebook every now and then. But my work, if you want to follow my work, I can give you the social media handle on Facebook for the round table as well. Yes, the alternative, that's an organization I started back in 2011 where I was organizing art, folks in the arts outside of the Christian four walls. So I noticed when I was going to church, there was not a lot of people doing arts. Like there was no poets, there were no dancers, there were no rappers. And I'm like, I love worship, but this is a little dull. Like God gave us a bunch of gifts. And so God said, well, go create a space called The Alternative and bring people into a space outside of the four walls to use their gifts to share about my glory. And I was like, oh, let's do it. So that was an organization I started. So I've been organizing since 2011, started more pulling people out of the church, coffee houses, out in the community at community engagement events. And that's since kind of morphed and turned into more of like a learning community space with some women. And I believe that God is going to allow that platform to also blossom. And I'll be doing my more consulting in the community through that and also ministry with my husband.
I love big founder energy. I love it, sis. You will build it. Okay.
It's gonna happen. Yes.
Big founder energy. Okay, super, super, super dope. I'm gonna show some stuff. This is from Anika Jones, and she says, Miss Casey Ariel, can we organize under Blaze as a giving circle? Anika, email me. I'm always down to hear a pitch. Okay, so email me, Casey at blazegroupllc.com, CASEY at blazegroupllc.com. I will flip you back a link to get on my calendar. And I'm happy to hear the pitch, right? And if it sounds will align, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then we can see what shakes.
I love making the ask. I love it. Make the ask then.
Shoot your shot, right? Yeah, big founder energy. All right, and so the next one is coming from Anika Leonard, and your girl, she loves you. I can tell in the chat.
Bae. It's Bae.
That's Bae. She asks, can you talk a little about UBLAC and your mentorship philosophy for youth organizers? Ooh.
UBLAC. So that's where, I don't know, maybe I did. I think I met Anika. Shout out to Bae, who actually plugged me with this opportunity. So thank you so much, Anika. I love you so much. And somebody said in the comments earlier that Milwaukee is popping. You are right. And so UBLAC started, and I mentioned some of this work in my my presentation. I've helped to organize around families who have lost their loved ones to police violence. And so UBLAC, Uplifting Black Liberation and Communities, was a grassroots organization I helped to found with Anika and a bunch of other dope Black women. And so a Black man named Savelle Smith, who again, I mentioned in my presentation, was killed by police. And we understood that our community at that time, it was hot, it was going to go down. We felt it. And we were like, we need to organize. There was no grassroots organization that was on the ground organizing around police violence in that way. And so we said, let's answer the call. We said, yes, I'm answering the call. I remember us engaging at a place called Urban Underground, where we met and we started to talk about like, what are we about to do? What's about to go on? So we just started to develop space where we could organize with people. We started having meetings. We started to go out after Savelle was killed. We were on the ground. We were ensuring that people had medical supplies. We were ensuring that people had the support that they needed. We were at the jail when our homegirl got picked up and arrested. You know, we were on social media giving people information. We started to organize community space meetings where people could come together and talk about the things that they wanted to do, the tactics we were going to use to win and get the support, the love, the investment, all of the things that we needed from the community. So we did a lot of work there. I definitely got my feet grounded doing that work as well. We did that alongside some young people. And Anika, you also asked, what is the strategy around youth engagement? I'm so glad you asked, because the organization that I'm currently the executive director of, the African American Roundtable, we are actually getting ready to hire a youth organizer in 2023. So we understand that this work cannot be done without young people. They have to be at the forefront. They have to be leading. So last year alone, we engaged, just starting off without a youth organizer, we engaged over 70 young people in Milwaukee. We did some youth sessions. We asked them, what does community safety look like to y'all? And we asked them to submit artwork. And we did a contest, and we stipend people for their labor and gave the winner $1,000, because our organization is blessed and we have foundational grants that support the vision that we see to bring young people in. From there, we had a space where we said, okay, so this is you guys' vision. You submitted these art proposals. Now let's create a beautiful billboard. So we created a billboard with the youth inspiring it. And it's now on the side of a daycare in Milwaukee. Anika, next time you come to town, ride down onto Tonya and Hampton and see Miss Tasha's daycare. It's a beautiful art mural that shows what a liberated Milwaukee looks like to them. And it's got children, it's got people playing chess, it's got flowers, it's got hearts, it got bloom, it has a sky. It's just a beautiful piece. And we were so happy to be able to sew into their leadership. We allowed young people to help to create this space, the listening sessions to facilitate. We taught them how to put together agendas, how to facilitate meetings, how to run a listening session. And so now the youth organizer will come in next year. We hope to bring in one of those people, the young people that we've been working with and that we've been building their skill, of course, bringing people from the inside, and then we'll help to build their skill to be an organizer, to build upon the work that we started and to take it to the next level and build a whole youth arm in our organization that feeds into our membership, also feeds into our base, and gives them opportunities to engage in the same civic engagement opportunities that we offer: asset mapping, leadership, participatory budgeting, steering committees opportunities, text banking, phone banking, all the things, digital opportunities. We're giving them all of the opportunities. If the adults doing it, they doing it, and they're probably doing it better. Let's just be honest.
So good. Okay, I got a curveball for you, Marquesa, because I'm going to help you meet your challenge of answering all the questions. So in 45 seconds or less.
Okay.
Could you answer this question from Chrissy? And she asks, besides social media, how does one find how to begin on structural change/reform? There are statistics for crime, but where can we deep dive for factual information?
Yes, I would say get on the internet and do some reading. I would offer, let's see here, Miriam Kaba. Look up Miriam Kaba, M-A-R-I-M. Let me see. I'm just going to put in here before I mess up her name. Miriam Kaba. Look her up. Look up Andrea Ritchie. These are people who do some amazing work out in the world. Put in the subject that you're looking for. Put in the subject in the internet and find Black authors. Who's doing work around it? Who's doing research around it? Again, find those organizations that could also be doing that work in your community and reach out. I'm interested in this. I don't have all of these tools. I don't have all of the things that I might need, but I need your support in doing it. And you can also email me. I can help you jump into the water as well and help you find those things in those places that could possibly lead you in the direction as to where you're trying to go. But these are some of my favorite people that I just mentioned. They do a lot of work around divestment, survivor work, but they definitely could find some places and you could probably find some places and some spaces and some resources in regards to the work that you want to do.
You did good. Look at the time. You did good, sis. Thank you so much for pouring. You are absolutely phenomenal. We are so honored to partner with you, sis. And you've literally sparked the flame that's going to change the world via a whole lot of people that are listening right now. Thank you so much, and I love you deep. For real, you stuck with me now, Marquesa.
Let's do it then. Let's change the world together. It's been so good to spend time with you all. Much love to you all. Be great, be great, be great, be great, and say yes.
Say yes, Ashe. Thank you, sis. All right, y'all. So we're at the bottom portion of the day for those who have been rocking since this morning. Wow, incredible. I hope that you are full. I hope that you are energized. And more importantly, I hope that you have proclaimed the things that you are going to do, right? And have taken these actionable steps, okay? All day. Rakita said she did what she did, and she showed up and 2 people were there and just kept going, right? And we've heard over and over and over and over again about how founders have showed up to solve real problems, and they keep showing up, right? And we've showed up for them, right? The black and green list spreadsheet that Yvonne created. Appreciate you, Yvonne. She's dropped it in the chat, or I've dropped it in the chat for her, okay? Add your ideas in there, obviously that was coming through in the chat, and I will flip it over to Dr. Kristen. We're going over to hear from our girl, Anika, okay? She's about to do a Blaze talk to end our slate of speakers for today, and it is called Cozy, Might I Suggest, ... Okay, and then Neff is going to close out the day with a journal wind down session called Chakra Alignment, because we got a journey, y'all. Okay, so have your notepads and pens or pencils ready for that. I'll see y'all in Anika's session right now. Peace.
How many of us have stories that our either mothers or caregivers love to tell about our childhood? Sometimes they're embarrassing, sometimes not, sometimes they're inappropriate, sometimes they aren't. So if you're anything like me, like you have a gang of stories that have been told to you that you can almost recite, right? And so I have a couple stories in particular that I'd love to share with you. One of them is that, I have an older sister. We're about 12 months apart, and my older sister basically came out of the womb talking, bossing everybody around and drinking coffee, right? And in comparison, I could not talk, basically. That is the thing that is like etched in my memory. I was told that I would try to have conversations with my mom and with, pretty much anyone who would listen. And in comparison to my sister, like people didn't understand me. Like they just thought I was cute. And so like my take on it is like they just pacified me like we, do sometimes with young people, like, oh, okay, you're so cute, look at her trying to talk kind of thing, right? And so basically, I was like so behind, like in comparison to with my sister, that my mom actually had me evaluated, and they found that there was nothing wrong with me, but I had a couple theories. I had a couple theories about like, just like why, folks couldn't understand me. And I was also reminded, like when I think about that story, I think about the power of the tongue. Like, what does it mean when you're telling a young person that they can't talk? And, fast forward years later, here I am doing a Blaze talk, and imagine the journey that I had to do to get to this place. Another story that my mom loves to tell me is, and everyone else who would listen, I would say, is the story about me basically locking myself in the bathroom. And in the bathroom, once the fire department came and knocked down a door, they found that I had surrounded myself with maxi pads. Like they were just all over the walls. And, like that is funny, it's embarrassing, it's a number of things. And when I think about this in relationship to who I am now, I think that, maybe there was something deeper going on to that, right? Another story that my mom tells is that like I love to eat dots. I know it's weird. I don't know where I got this from. I don't know like where, like, I don't know, right? But apparently I would, like see a dot, like a random dot, right? And I would touch it and then eat it. And so this was something that my mom would have me reenact up until this day. She's like, Anika, there's a dot. Do like you were when you were a little girl. Eat that dot, Nika. And like any good daughter, I would eat the dots, right? Like my mama want me to eat the dots, I'm gonna eat the dots. So they hurt nobody, right? But these stories, like they're funny, they are somewhat painful when I think about some of the things that were going on when some of those things were happening. But most of all, they basically have a lot deeper meaning. And I'll come back to the dot story, and I'll come back to the other two stories that I've shared with you as well. My name is Anika Leonard, and I am the CEO of Priceless Insight. Our mission is to uplift the experiences of Black women, girls, and youth who are impacted by violence through prevention, intervention, and leadership development. I am the mother of a 27-year-old and a 26-year-old. Yes, I was a teen mom, and Black don't crack. I am the auntie to about 16 young people, and I am a community auntie that will pull up and spin the block with that energy. I have a number of experiences that help me connect back to my work with young people, and that help me come back and connect back to community. So back to these early childhood experiences, they were connected to something deeper, specifically the impact of violence and trauma in my life. I learned that basically these experiences helped form some of my earliest core beliefs. And then they got together with the way I was socialized to be a Black girl in America, and boom, you just had this creation of this person who, I'm still unpacking who that person is today as I reclaim who I'm supposed to be. So with the MaxiPad story, what I didn't share is that there was a lot of arguing and a lot of things going on in the house that I just couldn't understand in my 4-year-old brain, right? And so what I'm thinking is that my instinct was to protect myself. And I connect that to how, sometimes even as an adult, we're socialized to really protect everybody else. But in that moment, little Anika knew that she needed to protect herself. I also connect those stories back to needing to prove myself and overextend myself. And those things happened in both my business and my personal life. There were so many things that happened, between little Anika who locked herself in the bathroom to the Anika that you see here today. And I can honestly point back to so many instances where I betrayed myself, where I put other people's needs before mine, and then sat and wondered why my needs weren't being met, or why people didn't understand that I needed help too, or that I needed love too, or I needed encouragement, or I needed celebration too. In the experiences that I had, I took those experiences and formed Priceless Insight. So I've experienced domestic violence, sexual violence, stalking, trafficking, dating violence, you name it, in terms of the gender-based violences, and I've experienced it, right? So I formed a organization, Priceless Insight, and our job was literally to help young people who have these experiences, this set of experiences, and basically help them process those experiences so that they didn't grow into adults who felt like everything that happened was their fault, which is pretty much the angle that I came from. Everything that happened, everything that went wrong, somehow I connected it to a deficit that was going on in me. And so I gave and I gave and I gave. I gave in the jobs that I worked in. I gave to my community relentlessly as a community activist. Even in the business that I formed, I only formed the business so that I could be official, but in the business that I formed, I was pretty much working for free, which, I know Casey would probably hear that and be like, what? No, we're going to, get your money, sis. But no, I was working for free. And so the impact of violence and trauma on my life as an entrepreneur has been significant. And I'm just learning this now. And I feel like it's very important to go back and to let other people know how it's impacted me, so that if you see these things showing up in your life and in your professional journey and personal journey, by the way, because, it's not like we can really keep the two separate. But if you see these things showing up, I have some suggestions for you, sis. And I also have another story for you. So I shared with you that, I started this organization. I've been giving my all in the community. I've overextended myself. And for me, that looked like being a strong Black woman, always pulling up for a crisis, always being there for everyone. In 2018, y'all, I had such a rude awakening. I mean, it was a glorious year in a lot of respects because like my company had just gotten a huge grant and it was a local grant. I was so excited. It was the biggest that we had so far. And that's why I say huge, right? But it was the biggest that we had so far. And I felt like it was my opportunity to really like show everybody that, like I was worthy, you know what I'm saying? That I was worthy to exist, that I was worthy to be, doing this work in the community. Even though I had been doing it for so long, I was the go-to person in the community. Like I somehow still felt like I needed to prove myself, which is connected back to some of those early childhood memories and those early adverse experiences. And so back to 2018. So I had a condition called endometriosis. I've had it since I started having cycles. And in 2018, I was dealing with the emergence of endometriosis, but I also started dealing with adenomyosis, pelvic floor dysfunction, and interstitial cystitis. So all four of those were conditions that cause chronic pain, chronic fatigue. And I basically, the journey started in May of 2018 and ended in, or concluded, I should say, in December. Well, I don't want to say concluded because I'm still, I'm still dealing with the impact of those conditions. But for the purposes of this story, I will say that, like I said, the onset of endometriosis was in 2018. And by the end of 2018, I needed to have surgery, which is the only way to really remove and have some relief for the endometrial tissues that I was experiencing. And so throughout this process, I made it clear to people, like, I can't show up the way I used to show up. Like, I actually need help. I got to the point where I couldn't walk. I could barely move, actually. It was just debilitating pain. When I say debilitating, I mean debilitating. I couldn't drive. I had friends accompanying me to the hospitals. I had friends cooking meals for me. There were times where I couldn't even get out of the bed to throw the keys down because, like, I was just in so much pain. And so my community really, really stepped in for me. And so that's another thing. Sometimes when you experience trauma, sometimes you feel like you don't have the right to ask for help or you don't deserve help. But might I suggest that you ask for help when you need it? And that if you are turned down, that you keep asking, because somebody out there recognizes who you are and what you're doing, and they will step in to help you. So don't give up if you ask for help and find that, no one in your immediate circle will help you. Because sometimes it's like that. So in December of 2018, I ended up needing surgery and had the surgery. And all this time, I'm battling with the doctor. I'm battling with ER doctors, with my personal doctor, with everyone in the medical industrial complex, because I was in so much pain and they basically did not believe me. And it was a very, very basically a horrible experience. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but it's the tale of many Black women who have chronic conditions like that, lead to chronic pain and fatigue. So I ended up having my surgery and I was telling my doctor, like, I really need you to check like something's going on with my intestines. And this must have been spirit, right? I'm like, something's going on with my intestines. I don't know what, but I need you to promise me that you're going to check my intestines. They ended up checking my intestines and needing to do an emergency surgery inside of my surgery. I stayed in the hospital for a couple of days, and after my hospital stay, I was sent home, and none of my family and friends came to stay with me, for the next couple of days after that. So that's when being a strong Black woman goes wrong. I could not believe it. Like, I literally woke up in pain, in so much pain in the middle of the night that I was frozen, right? And I called everybody and cussed them out. I'm not gonna lie. I said, how could y'all send me home by myself? Knowing all that I've experienced to get to this point, and knowing that, I just had this surgery inside of a surgery. Like, how could you send me home by myself? And that's when, once again, the community stepped in. My sister stepped in, my brother, my nieces, my nephews, like, everyone stepped in again at that point. But I needed to ask for it. So we have to be, like I said, not afraid to ask for help. So I'll share another story. Last week, well, this is December now, but in early fall, I was visiting Milwaukee and I used my mom's car. And while I was using her car, which is a fairly new car, it's like the 2020 or 2021. I'm not sure which one, but it's a fairly new car. But I'm driving it and I start to smell something funny. I'm like, what is that? Right. And I'm thinking nothing of it, but I'm like, okay, I definitely got to tell my mom I'm smelling something funny. But by the time I go to pick up my mom, I'm on the highway to pick up my mom from work. And I see that her car is not only smelling funny, but it's starting to sound funny. I'm like, oh no, I've been here before. Her engine is about to lock up. That was oil that I was smelling, right? So I'm freaking out. When I say I'm full blown freaking out, I am crying. I call her. I'm like, Mom, your car, I'm on the highway. I'm scared, I finally get the car off the highway. I pull over into a, this part of town. I'm nervous about that as well. And I end up being, like my mom calls the car company and they get it towed. And I'm basically like standing outside at this point, but I was crying my eyes out, everybody. Like I said, I was freaking out. And I had a moment where I realized like, wow, I am really here crying and having a fit because, like, first of all, who wants to drive someone else's car and have it break down on them, right? Like whether it's your fault or not, right? I didn't want to create a hardship on my mom, but more importantly than that, I didn't want to create an inconvenience for my mom. And in that moment, I realized like I have literally spent my whole life trying to be perfect for her, trying to not be an inconvenience for her because she has so many things going on, like trying to raise us on her own. It was 4 of us. She tried to raise us on her own. She dealt with some, like some bad relationships, and I was really trying to be the perfect child for her. And that was the root of like codependency and people pleasing. And can you imagine how if those are some of the things that I learned early on, what it is like to try to run a service-based business with codependency and people pleasing as some of your core beliefs? It's impossible. It's almost impossible. And then add to that, I had a grandmother who at 12 years old told me that nobody wanted me, that no one wanted to have me, basically, that my parents wanted to abort me. And that takes imposter syndrome to a whole nother level. So let's wrap this up. Okay, so I can't speak. My instinct was to protect myself and no one wanted me. And I also connected the dots. So in connecting the dots, here's some things that I will say, just to bring it all full circle. I internalized a lot of those adverse childhood experiences, and they helped me create a version of me that I needed to survive. And in that version of me that I needed to survive, I was great in some areas and I was like learning and unlearning in other areas, right? Like there was like this whole like gamut of me that, like I felt like I needed to change, that I felt like I knew I could do better, but I didn't have the tools to access. But here are some things that really helped me. Remembering that my voice matters. Like some people are committed to misunderstanding me. And I didn't really understand that as a child, but now I understand it as adults. Some people do not have the awareness, they don't have the self-awareness, and they don't have the ability to really understand because they could only meet me to their level of awareness. The other thing I realized is that your mistakes can serve you. That we have to honor our grief, honor like who society said we should be, who our family said we should be, and who those traumatic experiences said that we should be, while stepping into who we are, right? Always ask for help. There is always help available. Pray to your higher power, God, whoever it is, your network of bad blaze, besties, like there are so many people out here who are willing to help you. Ask for it. Talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. I talk affirmations to myself. I speak life into myself. These are some of the things that have helped me get to where I need to be. Also, familiarize yourself with the habits of white supremacy, because we are Black women who are paving a way for other Black women in a world that we were not meant to survive. So, sis, familiarize yourself with the habits of white supremacy and how they show up in our lives, so that we can navigate them properly. And also, might I suggest we get comfortable in the skin that we are in, because we are fabulous, we are beautiful, we are taking over, you know what I'm saying? We are paving the way for young, brilliant, beautiful Black girls and femmes and gender beyond and gender expansive youth to come after us. And we've got to get comfortable so that we can create space for them to live in the fullness of who they are. Thank you.
Yeah. and it's the way she always drops the mic, right? Anika, I'm bringing you up, mama. Yeah. Come on up here, girl.
Hey, everybody.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like that was me.
That was you. You that girl.
Okay. I see
You that girl. I love your earrings.
You know, a little something. I ain't
I
gonna say
love
nothing, but
it.
yesterday it was my business on my earrings and a price tag.
Dang.
I'm a grab.
And I ain't even. Dang. Next
Yeah.
time. Next
And it was by
time.
a Black woman.
You could have slipped me a little note and say, "Hey, these are my brand earrings, sis. Love it, love it,
Yeah,
love
I'm
it."
gonna grab them.
I say, okay, y'all. So we have Anika for another 8 minutes. All right. So drop your questions or raise your hand. Okay. I want her to be able to answer all of your questions and or receive all of your flowers. I'm so proud of you. That's all I got to say, sis. I'm just so proud of you for taking up all of the space again and again and again. You're killing it. You're welcome, beautiful.
Thank you so much. This has been an incredible experience. Like,
no shame.
Yeah.
No shame.
Thank you.
Look, Lindsay has raised her hand, so I'm bringing her up. Lindsay, you have the floor, sis.
Oh, my girls. Hey, y'all. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to come and bring you both your flowers. You know, obviously everyone in the chat and who has attended the summit has been full just of the goodness. Anika just had me back to back today, yesterday, and just seeing you just shine in your most authentic self. It's just so beautiful to see, and especially having personal relationships with the both of you. It's remarkable. I am getting fed, you know, over and over and over again through you ladies. So thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for showing up and caping hard, as Casey would say it, for Black women all over the world. We need y'all. Continue to take up space. Like this was a phenomenal talk, but just thank you both just for showing up and for doing this for the culture.
You go first, Anika. What you got to say to that?
Tears. So for y'all who don't know, I met Lindsay around this time last year, when I was desperately seeking community and friendship, and Casey had a podcast, and we met like through the podcast as well, and just have been connected ever since. So Lindsay, just to have you on here saying it, I'm like, yes, my sis, like, thank you so much. Thank you. You are an incredible person, just beautiful inside and out, you know. So I just appreciate just being in community with you and sisterhood. Like, and then you here, you giving me my flowers, and I was giving you your flowers last time. It's just a full circle of some things, and I just thank you.
I say, man, a bunch of full circle moments. So yeah, I met Lindsay last year because she was a speaker at the Winter 2021 Summit. Okay. And her and I did a fireside chat on building Black wealth. Okay. And let me tell y'all something. Oh, Shotty cold. Like, I come from finance and I don't even talk about it that much. I'm talking about it more and more because I'm mad at them, right? And I'm doing a lot of stuff on the continent, but I ain't dealt with the US that much yet. And Shotty so cold. I looked at her, she looked at me, and we was like, yo, we got the bill, right? So we already knew we were about to disrupt the banking system. It's coming. We're working on that. And then I had a podcast where Anika was surprised by Lindsay coming on as another guest, and she was fangirling. I don't know if she told you that, Lindsay, but I was like, Anika, Lindsay about to come on. She was like, what? Because she remembered her from the summit. Now they friends coming to each other's houses and stuff, and now we're on this. Man, I'm just full circle moments, full circle moments. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you, Lindsay.
I love y'all so much.
Love you too,
Love you
Mama.
too, sis.
Ashe. Ashe. So good. Sharon, I'm about to bring you up. Let me make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay, so Sharon, I'm bringing you up, and then I'm going to ask a question from Andrea and then a question from Alexis. Sharon, the mic is yours, Mamacita.
Hello, can y'all hear me? I'm just here to give flowers because that was so dope, so powerful. I was listening in the background trying to catch up on stuff, and I kept coming back to the screen because I was like, I need to see her say this. Like I need to see her face while she say this. And then I was like trying not to get in the chat because when you get in the chat, you know, you get caught up and then you just be part of the conversation. I'm like, no, I got work to do. But
Yep.
it's I know I hope you felt that love, and I feel you on them earrings. So you gonna slide them into my DMs if you want to. If there was a way to send
Okay.
them personally, I would take them. You know, hit us up if you ever want somebody to model your earrings. I give good neck. Um, but that was just amazingly powerful. So thank you for that. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
Ashe, thank you so much, Sharon.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. And we done slid in each other's DMs already, so we gonna make that happen.
Hey. Dope. I love to
We are
hear
gonna make
it.
it happen.
All right, so I'm putting your first question on the stage, Anika, and it is from Andrea. She says, thank you for sharing your stories. What do you do on a daily basis to stay in connection with higher self?
Um, so I'm more spiritual than I am religious. So but I have like religious Church of God in Christ roots. So I read my Bible. I do affirmations daily. I meditate. I don't watch the news either. Like that is, I hear way too much. Like I still operate a crisis hotline. I'm still very active in the gender-based violence prevention and intervention.
Yeah.
So I just do my best to balance. So like I listen to myself. Like before I take on a crisis call, I pray, and I ask like, what is it that I'm supposed to say or do, or how am I supposed to show up right now? I do that before I take meetings and things like that as well, because like spirituality and like is intrinsically linked in everything that I do. And that's another thing that I've learned over these last like 5 years. Like I have to include my higher order and direction. I have to include like something that's outside of me, because like I said yesterday, or I don't think I said it, but if it were up to me, like I would be like real low key sitting somewhere, not talking to people, like I would be on a farm like the little old lady with lots of farm animals, and you think she a witch because she living in the woods by herself in nature. That would be me. Like and that's gonna be my dream one day, because I'm not really like a people person. I'm very introverted, and it surprises a lot of people, but I see things and I want to help, but I also recognize that like now taking care of myself means like balancing. It means like sometimes I don't take the crisis. Sometimes it's like I really can't talk right now, and 5 years ago I never would have did that. I was dropped everything. But now I'm like, I can't do it right now. Like we got to figure out something else, or I have to send you somewhere else to, to work this out. But yeah, now I just center, I pray and I meditate, and I ask for direction on everything.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I'm going to show some flowers for you, Anika, and then I'm going to bring Bakita to the stage. Bakita has her hand up.
Okay.
I love PG, y'all. I love PG. Okay, so let me show you your flowers.
Listen.
Alexis says roses, but I feel like you are my bestie in my head. Your
We
relatability.
are.
Period. Y'all best besties.
We
Period.
are. It ain't
Period.
just in your head, it's in reality.
Your relatability does it for me. I strive to always have that level of authenticity in my life and business. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you, Alexis. And that's where we as Black women, like I was talking, first of all, Casey,
Mhm.
I have some friends who are just like blown away with this platform that you have created for us, right?
Really?
And like one of my friends was like literally like crying last night, talking about like the stage that you in the presence that you've created for us, and how
Um,
we are literally like we are paving the way for the new future. Like this is it's over for all of the
mhm,
ways that we have been exploited, you know, like for all the
mhm.
ways that we have been manipulated and just like pitted against each other, like all of that is over. And my friend was recognizing that, like, y'all are literally leading the way. And I'm like, yes, it's so dope. And I was telling her about the way you have the leaderboard where you get points for supporting other Black women. I'm like, listen, y'all don't know the levels to this. And she was like, she an Aquarius, ain't she? I said, yes, she is.
I am.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is an Aquarius, and we are literally creating the systems that are going to help us like maintain our
Period.
community and maintain our own sanity and wellness as a people. So,
Period.
listen, we yeah, we besties already, Alexis. That's all I got to say. We besties
Period.
already. And if one more thing, if all of us can make sure that we start following each other, like go through your attendance list,
Mhm,
follow everybody, like we could get our clout,
mhm,
our clouts up for our business just through the
mhm,
platform that we have here. So make sure y'all following everybody, speakers, and not just speakers, but also all of the participants. I'm going through. Send me out
mhm.
information. I'm gonna go through, and I've been trying to do it on my own. But yes, we can build each other's brands, literally. We
I
got
got
this.
chills. I got chills. Like for real, y'all. The world will know our names. When I say that, I am not just saying that. The world will literally know our names. The best of the best of the best that this world has ever seen. Ever is here, right here. We don't like we don't have to
Here.
be anything different. So I share everything you're saying, Anika. Like literally as you're talking, I have chills because yes, like this is ground zero on so many levels, man. Like Lindsay and I, y'all gonna see we're already building a fintech company that is literally going to dismantle banking in such a way that currency won't matter for Black women. Like literally, fiat currency won't matter for Black women. Like it's coming, literally, y'all. Like in all the ways that matter, all of us are building the things that we have always needed without permission. I can't make it. I can't help you understand the gravity of this in any other way but saying the world will know your names. I mean that. Like, period. I
Exactly.
promise you, guarantee the world will know your names. Okay. I say. All
Exactly.
right, PG. PG, I'm bringing you up right now. The stage and mic is yours. You can
Wait.
say whatever you want to say.
Right. As soon as we just gonna have this set up. So as soon as
Hilarious. Hey, 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 hey.
look, I'll be on it. I'm for real.
It's full. I love it. Hey, ladies. Adika, my heart is racing. I'm so proud of you. Casey keeps
Thank
referencing
you.
what a difference a year makes, but I want to say what a difference 6 months. We just hung out in the summer. What a difference 6 months. So listen, the only reason that I popped in is because y'all know I don't enter in a room without leaving somebody encouraged. So I'm gonna leave y'all with some of my favorite scriptures because the entire summit, but all of you guys, and Anika, you especially have such a wonderful, close space in my heart. So these are some of my favorite scriptures. But before I share them, y'all, I want you to know the reason that we feel so much love and acceptance in the confines of this space is because Blaze is a house.
Casey has been very intuitive to construct a house. I always hate when people say we're going to build our own tables. She built a whole house and filled it with many rooms so that each room has multiple tables with multiple chairs, and we got recliners and sofas and all of these things, so we can take up all the space that we need and we can have as much room as we need. Casey, that's why I love you. That's why I'm always Cape Hard for you, cuh. Because Casey saw that there was a void and she decided to be the change, and she decided to be the healing that she needed so that it exuberated throughout all of us. And sometimes I think the disconnect with what we go through is we hear so often people say that hurt people hurt people. But that's a choice. Hurt people don't have to hurt people. Hurt people can learn, and then hurt people can heal. And that's what Casey chose to do. That's what Anika does. When you sit and have intimate conversations with these ladies, you get to experience their pain and their triumph because they refuse to get stuck in the moment that they were. They want to keep elevating and pull us all along with them. So these are my favorite scriptures, y'all. Psalm 139 and 14 has so many different variations in the Bible, but one says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made in his image. But in the Message translation, it says, thank you, God, for making me so wonderfully complicated. Y'all, we are so wonderfully complicated. There is nothing unique about us. We are as diverse as a fingerprint. And so don't ever let anybody discourage you or make you feel like whatever you've gone through has invalidated you. That only solidified us. That made us great. It made us different. It made us strong. I don't believe in calling Black women resilient because it creates a narrative that we don't ever get tired and we don't need to be soft and we don't need to be loved. We are blossoming and ever evolving and changing, and we are thriving. And sometimes we are ugly and we are mean and we are hangry and we are grumpy. We are all of the things. And that is why we're supposed to be that way, because we're so wonderfully complex. My other favorite scripture is that everything starts with a good intention and the rest is up to you. That is Psalms 115. Y'all, everything was already seated inside of us. So anything that we want to accomplish, anything that we want to be, anything that we want to leave in the earth, it's already in us. We just have to do it. We just have to be it. We just have to say it. I love you so much, Anika. I'm so proud of you. Casey.
I love you too. Thank you.
Girl, this is year 2, y'all. Y'all would think with the level of excellence that Casey has put on this summit, you would think that this was 10 years in the making. Y'all, this was just a dream from a few months ago. This was a dream from a few months ago. I caught her when the dream was like in process. And I gravitated to Casey's spirit because she spoke to something in me. I'm 48 years old and I am still in corporate America. Casey spoke to something in me that I had never seen before. Making space for Black women so that we don't have to have this survivor get voted off the island mentality. There is more than enough room for all of us. So my quest this year has been to make sure that when Black women come through my desk and they're being interviewed for jobs that they're not qualified for, no, we not tossing their resume out. We bringing them on. We developing them. We bringing them on the team. We're going to teach them what they know, what they need to know. We're going to coach them, and we're going to make sure that they have access to the same pot of money that mediocre white boys who barely graduated from high school get to. And that is what I have been doing. That has been my mission and admonition within the corporate workplace this year. And I'm seeing changes. We have hired, I want to say within the last 90 days, 5 Black leaders, 5 Black leaders in my firm. All because I refuse to let them push those resumes to the side. Y'all, take up space, make room, and pull each other up. Pull each other up. That's what Blaze is all about. That's why Casey built this house. That's why Anika popped in last year. That's why Lindsay popped in last year. That's why I popped in last year. Y'all, this is not by happenstance. God does not do chance. All of this is a divine assignment. So take your assignment, take your place, fill in the gaps, be who you want to be, and don't be your experience. Be the end result that you want to see. I love y'all. Mwah.
I love you too. Thank you for preaching.
Yeah, stay right there now, Paquita. Listen now. Listen now. Listen now. Listen now.
Get a
Listen
case.
now. Listen now. Okay, because after Anika got done yesterday, we talked about how this is church. And I already knew then what PG's role in the church was. Okay? I already knew then what her role in the church was, but I knew at some point she was going to come to this stage. Okay? So as she is on the stage, let me introduce y'all to the historian, the secretary, and the occasional pastor that comes in to shut it down because she keeps score, she keeps records, she tells the story. I'm talking about Lord Jesus. I'm talking about when I met her before she even hit the stage for the Winter 2021 Summit. She sat there and said, Casey, and she told me about this house I had built before she got on the stage. Like a gift that is like no other. She keeps score. She keeps record. Okay. She showed up to the continent a couple of months ago. I got to hug her. She kept saying, I get to smell Casey. I'm talking about it's the way that she sees the world and articulates the story, man. Like intricate details. And even then she had me crying because she keeps scoring. Y'all, she is so very special. I do not have words, Paquita, for all that you have affirmed in me, because the stuff that's up here, y'all, I don't even try to put it into words. I just make sure y'all feel it when it comes. I'm talking it's a lot of stuff that I already see and taste and smell. But somehow Paquita keeps seeing it before it happens. She saw that something before it happened. And then y'all experience the rooms and the doors and the pillows and you know what I'm saying? So I honor you, sis. I give you all of your flowers. I was always supposed to meet you, and I'm just so happy that I relented and surrendered to life so that I could intersect with you, because you have deposited so much good in my life. And thank you for giving me hugs a couple of months ago. I needed that.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I love you so
y'all.
much. Love you.
Yes.
I mean it, ladies. Y'all hold on to these moments. These moments are things that happen like shooting stars. They don't exist. They don't exist in the regular world. You have to be spiritually tapped in to get moments like this. And God hand selects. He hand selects the people and the places and the prospects and the words and the phrases and the emotions. He hand selects all of those things. So consider yourselves God's favored child, that he hand selected you for these moments just like this. I'm so happy for y'all. So happy for y'all.
Thank you, PG.
You better quit.
We gonna work on that podcast, Anika.
Listen. You're right. We are gonna do it. We're gonna get on the calendar. And for those who asked about the book I held up, it's Paquita's strategy journal.
Yep.
So she could be found in the marketplace. It's Hayward and Love. That's Paquita's thing. And I use this strategy journal, like it's weekly priorities. It's all kind of stuff. I be using that to keep me on track. So I wanted to plug that. Can I say something? Like 2 things. Do we have any more questions?
I'm leaving, y'all.
No, bye, PG.
Love you.
No, we just going to the journal wind down after this, so you can wrap it with your comments now.
Okay, so 2 things. So these are my earrings, Priceless Insight earrings. So that's one. And actually, fun fact, this is Marquesa's silhouette in the middle. Like this person right here. The first one is me, and that second one is Marquesa.
Dope.
So that's dope. And then these are the other ones. I just want to show y'all that we have merch that's gonna be coming again. Dope. Yeah.
That's dope. Keep us posted, man.
Thank you. I sure will. And I just wanted to say, so I'm in a period of grieving as well. There was a young woman who was a entrepreneur, young Black mom. She has a baby who's like about 2 years old, if that, and an 18-year-old. And she helped us with some of the organizing that we did in Milwaukee, with You Black and a Black Women's March. And she literally just opened her youth center a week ago. So that Saturday she opened her youth center. That following Sunday, she got into a car accident and lost her life. And I'm just, as a person who has been in a tremendous amount of mental and emotional and physical pain that have led me to think thoughts, suicidal thoughts, led me to want to give up, led me to want to, like, question my purpose in what I'm doing. And as a Black woman entrepreneur, I know how much she put into what she did. She went out and she went to the margins of the margins and got the babies in Milwaukee. So Marquesa talked about Milwaukee, but Milwaukee, y'all. So many high-speed car chases, so many like things going on in Milwaukee that, like, literally it is a culture shift when I come down here, because I don't have to put a club on a car. In Milwaukee, if I'm not putting a club on a car before I leave, like, that car might not be there when I get back, literally, right? And that's the city that Marquesa is organizing in and speaking truth to power is. And that's the city that this young lady went out and grabbed those kids who were still in those cars, got all in their face, and was like, nah, we're not doing this. So those are the babies that she worked with, the ones that nobody wanted to work with, the ones that gave up, the ones that are justice system involved. Those are the ones that she worked with. And she literally just opened her youth mentoring / life coach center, y'all. And I'm saying all of that to say, like, thank you for the condolences, y'all. But, like, I know that a lot of times we question what we're doing and why we're doing it and who we're doing it for. And if it is on our hearts and if it's in our minds, if it's in our spirits and it won't let us be, it is for something greater than us. And I know, like, as an entrepreneur, like I said, I've had moments where I wanted to give up. I've had moments where I've wanted to take my own life. I've had these moments. In her life and the celebration of her life and all that she has done in the community, like, that is my proof and evidence that I need to keep moving forward, because sis didn't make it home. Sis did not make it she ain't make it home. Her work here is done on that level. And it's up to us to continue to, like, reach out, because there's so many young people who need us, because the world is going to keep pushing them aside, and they're going to keep saying whatever it is that they say, fill in the blank about our Black babies, but somebody got to go get them.
So
thank you for giving me space to say that.
So many condolences to you, sis. I hope that you take the time and space to heal, like, for real, I hope that you do, because we gonna be here when you done, okay? The folk you serving gonna be when you done, right? But take time and space to heal. I'm so sorry about that, and thank you for sharing that as a grounding story for us. Love and light to her family too. Thank you, sis.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anika. We appreciate this. We are closing out this session, y'all, officially. And we are transitioning into the segment that is the journal wind down. Now, again, okay, every day goes higher, right? And you are literally being elevated, not pushed, okay? Because we're going with you, and there's time and a pace for this, right? You are literally being elevated to a place where by the end of these 5 days, it truly ain't gonna be a burden, like for real. You ain't gonna be scared of it, right? So this segment is about to be it is very, very important. It already is very, very important. This is the final journal wind down session. And it is called Chakra Alignment. We have Neff McGriff coming back to do this. This is her last time doing this today, okay? So meet me over there at that session, a 30-minute wind down, a 30-minute journal wind down. It is called chakra alignment. Definitely have your pen and your paper ready. If you have not been here for the last 2 journal wind downs, I promise y'all it's everything. And then we just have 2 days left. Like, that's it. We got 2 days left, and that's it. Okay. So thank y'all for rocking with us. I'll see y'all in the journal wind down session. What you got for us?
All right. So glad to see everybody. What I would like for us to do before we start this is to, if you're seated or if you're standing, try to plant your feet as flatly on the ground where you are and sit up straight and breathe in and then breathe out. And next, if you can, stretch out your arms. So still have your feet planted as solidly on the ground as you can, sitting up, and you're still doing that breathing, and you're stretching your arms out, and just imagine you reaching your fingertips as far as they can go. And so you should feel a little pull in your arms. And we're going to breathe about 2 more times very deeply. And now I would like for you to take your arms and cross them over your body and give yourself the tightest hug that you can and say to yourself, I love you. And do a deep breathe. And now release. All right. I hope you have your journals or your tablets, whatever it is that you're using, because we are going to find out where in our bodies are we storing our burdens. Where are we storing our burdens? So the strength of your energy flow, the strength of your energy's flow determines your overall mental and physical health. So I'm going to do a rundown of the 7 physical chakras, even though there are more than these chakras, but we are the most acclimated to these. So the 7 chakras, you're free to focus on whichever chakra that resonates with your circumstances, or you can choose to, journal about the different chakras based on the prompt. So right now, just listen, and then I'll let you know when we start the journal prompt. So just to familiarize yourselves, the root chakra, that's located at the base of the tailbone, and it is symbolic of stability. It's almost like the root of a tree or the foundation of a house. So, or a building. Some blockages in this chakra can feel like anxiety, challenges with money, feelings of scarcity, fear of abandonment. And when it's clear, you move without doubt. You feel and you know that you are safe and seen. Your sacral sits between the reproductive organs in the center of the lower abdomen. And so this is the station for creation and procreation. Anything that you bring into existence, whether it's a new business or whether it's another human. Blockages in this domain will feel like lack of motivation or lack of inspiration. You'll have a very slow drip of creative flow. You could experience womb issues, and you may have a loss of sexual desire. And honestly, a lot of times when our hips are very tight or we feel some kind of issue in our hips, that's because we're storing our burdens right there. That is a vessel directly aligned to emotional stress. So if your hips are tight, you might be holding some emotional stress. So for our solar plexus, that is the center of power and confidence and empowerment, and it's 2 finger widths above the belly button. So when this is blocked, you could feel powerless and confused. When it's clear, this is when you activate your own personal power and you feel a deep, deep sense of strength, and you're able to reclaim that power. Okay. The heart chakra. Is there a heart in a house tonight? Stand up. So this is the center of your body's energy universe. So think of it as the heart chakra is regulating your energy flow throughout your body, just as your heart regulates the blood flow. So it is literally right there in your heart, in the space of your heart. So what causes this to be blocked is trauma, grief, redundant disappointments, lack of self-acceptance, all of these things. And so when it's clear, you will find that it's easy for you to love, especially yourself. It's easy to love other people. You feel optimistic, and you're able to release grudges. You ain't holding on to who made you mad and why they did it. It's just like, whatever. Okay, I'm cool. And you really mean it too. Now the throat, that's your speaker box or your physical throat. So truth is primary and the voice is secondary. So what you are communicating is the what. The what is your truth. And the how is your channel, which is your throat. So this is blocked by lies. The lies, the lies, the lies. So not only the lies that you tell other people, but the lies that you are telling yourself. So usually when someone asks you, are you okay? And you tell them, yeah, I'm fine, but deep down inside you're not, that's a blockage. Okay. If you're telling yourself, oh, I'll be fine, you're lying to yourself if you're not really going to be fine. All right. So when this is active and clear, you're no longer bound by the complications of your childhood that may have repressed or silenced your voice, or the disparities of today's world that keeps telling you that your voice isn't necessary or it's just too loud. Now, the third eye, that's the center of your nicely arched eyebrows. This is where clarity and intuition lives. So when this is blocked, you usually will feel unfocused. You're not aware of what's happening around you. And you may have a tendency to overthink or ruminate on something. And you may feel a little confused. When it's open, you're able to trust your intuition. You're able to decipher between what is fear and what is really intuition. Now, the crown chakra sits at the top of your head. When that's open and it's functioning well, you are intimately aware of how you connect with God and the universe. When it's blocked, you will feel heaviness of attachments that are no longer serving you. Okay? So, now that you have an idea of what the chakras are, we're going to do a prompt for each one. And so the reason I gave you all of these is so you'll be able to determine maybe maybe all of your chakras are open, but still partake in the session. Maybe your root chakra is closed. Maybe it's your heart that needs a little attention, or maybe you want to do all 7, but you get to pick and choose. Without further ado, here we go. So for the root chakra, what are some ways that I can anchor new wisdom and bring it into fruition? What are some ways that I can anchor new wisdom and bring it into fruition? How can I take what I've learned and bring it to pass, make it exist? All right. For the sacral, in what ways do I run away from my feelings? In what ways do I run away from my feelings? And the follow-up to that is, what is or are the reasons? In what ways do I run away from my feelings? What is or are the reasons? Now for our solar plexus, remember this is the center of power. What would I do differently if I know I could not fail? What would I do differently if I know I could not fail? And for the center of our body's energy universe, which is the heart, am I aware of the love that surrounds me, and do I truly welcome it? Am I aware of the love that surrounds me, and do I truly welcome it? Now, for our throat chakra, or your speaker box, think of a specific person who you have always wanted to express your truth to, but for whatever reason, you haven't. Think of a person who you've always wanted to express your truth to, but for whatever reason, you haven't. What would you say to this person if you knew they would listen without judgment or rebuttal? What would you say to this person if you knew they would listen without judgment or rebuttal? I'm going to give you a little bit more time on this one because this one might be a little heavy. Yep. So we're on the throat chakra, and you're going to think of a specific person who you want to express your truth to, but you haven't for whatever reason. And so the question is, what would you say to this person, the person that you thought of, if you knew they would listen without judgment or rebuttal? So no matter what, they had to listen to you. They had to hear you out. What would you say to them? Oh, Janine. Okay. For our third eye, where our intuition lives, am I able to distinguish my spirit sight from my physical sight? Am I able to distinguish my spirit sight from my physical sight? And the follow-up to that is, when was the last time I did this successfully? Am I able to distinguish my spirit sight from my physical sight? And when was the last time I did this successfully? When was the last time I did this successfully? And lastly, for the crown, do I truly trust the divine to carry me to my highest potential in my personal life and in my business? Do I truly trust the divine to carry me to my highest potential in my personal life and in my business? Why or why not? Do I truly trust the divine to carry me to my highest potential in my personal life and in my business? Just remember that we are made of energy. Energy has to flow. It flows through us. If there's something that is blocking that flow of energy, just like anything, if there's something blocking water, it builds up. If there's something blocking the flow in your body, that builds up, and it manifests in physical ailments, mental ailments. So whatever burden you are holding on to, release that, whether it's in your root chakra, your sacral, solar plexus, heart, wherever it is. You have to release that burden. I wish we had more time to really dig into how the chakras are so just, they're present, ever present in everything that is us. But really, when we say Black Girl Magic, we are magical. We are. We matter because we are matter. I hope you are able to determine where it is that you may be feeling a block. I hope that you're able to understand how these help us. When these things are aligned with us, we're able to be the better version of ourselves that we envision. We're able to show up differently. We're able to show up in ways that we wouldn't have ever even imagined. So I want you to understand, like with the root chakra, if you need help with getting that balanced, try grounding, move forward with a gratitude mindset. Be grateful of the things that you have. For the sacral, try self-forgiveness, release any feelings of guilt. For the solar plexus, be yourself. But this will help only if your root chakras and your sacral chakra are balanced. With your heart, you're going to have to release the hurt from the past. You have to. You're going to have to be mindful and present when you do it. For your throat, explore the morals and values that guide your choices, and explore more collective learning. Actually, we always say, hey, I found my tribe. This is your tribe, yes? And so we are here as a community, and we have collective memories, and we can tell these stories for generations to come. So individual truth, but also collective learning and collective truths will help with your throat chakra. We are saying, speak up. Casey told us earlier today, open your mouth. That's what you have to do. Use your speaker box. If you need help with your third eye, learn to decipher between your intuition and paranoia or fear. Sometimes we be right on the money, but then we're like, maybe I'm overreacting. We are intuitive beings. You know what's up. You do. And for your crown, here we go from yesterday, practice non-attachment. Try loving people without attachment. Try loving things without attachment. We definitely don't want to be jamming to Ibadu's bag lady and she really talking about us. We don't want to do that. So I hope this has helped you understand how the blockages affect you, but also there's some resources. I've given you some resources that can help you start to no, Raketa, the third eye. So the help with the third eye is to learn to decipher between intuition and paranoia or fear. You're welcome. Thank you all. Solar, yep, solar is be yourself. That's the one way, because the solar is the center of power and confidence. And so that, in order for that to happen and you being yourself, you really have to make sure your root chakra and your sacral chakras are balanced. Yes, heart was release the hurt from the past, be mindful, and be present. Mm-hmm. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you all allowing me to share this space for 3 days with you. I have had so much fun with this. I hope I hope each of these sessions have allowed you to learn more about yourself and giving you ways to just be the better version of yourself that you want to be, that you are already. She's there. We just have to catch up. So I truly, truly thank you, Casey, for finding space for me in this. And I thank you all for the follow-ups. You know, I've gotten a lot of follow-ups with just picking my brain, and I thank you for trusting me to be able to pour into you. Thank you, ladies.
Man, it's hard to let this go. Neff, you are amazing. It's been more than an honor to watch you operate in your zone of genius.
Thank you.
I needed every syllable that you've spoken over the last 3 days. Man, I thank you for the level of not just hope that you gave us today, but tangible ways out. Like, as I've highlighted the 3 chakras that are blocked, everything you said, and I don't know nothing about chakras. Now I do, like, makes perfect sense to me. The way out makes perfect sense to me because my intuition is like, yeah, we can do this, you know? So I thank you. I thank you for ushering us into freedom over the last 3 days in nooks and crannies that have dust on them and spider webs, you know, and are very cold and drafty. You have warmed it up. You've shone light on some things. You've scattered some things that have been eating away at us, and we honor you. We honor you. We honor you. We honor you. I'm just blown away. I mean that. Like, I'm beyond impressed. You are a genius in this area. You move effortlessly. Please do tell everybody about your sessions that you do. I ain't even gonna describe it. I want you to. But yeah, like, cause y'all, this is the last journal session. Now, this is not the last of what Neff does, right? So you're gonna have to go over to her community and get you some. But please do share with everybody.
So just to be clear, the only time I have actively facilitated journaling sessions are in coaching sessions or therapy sessions or in group. I've never done it on this scale. So I am so overwhelmed in a good way to see how receptive people are, like how receptive you all are of this. And so I truly thank you. Thank you all for just being open to it. This gives me a little idea. Maybe I should, but again, coaching and counseling services that, you know, touch on compassion fatigue, anxiety, depression, infidelity, parenting, adopting, you know, the specialty services are related to the mother wound. You know, if you have a very toxic relationship with your mother, you need to see me. And for Blaze participants, if you want to come to the support group that I have every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Standard Eastern Time, you get $5 off. So it's originally $30, but you get $5 off. And if you feel like, nope, I need more than just the support group, you get a 60% discount on the coaching package. It's a 3-month coaching package. It's usually $3,000, but for Blaze participants, it is $1,200. And with that included, you have one session that is 1 hour and 15 minutes, and 12 sessions that are 50 minutes, and you have access to all of the support groups while you're in your coaching time with me. And then you have 3 10-minute laser coaching sessions throughout your coaching package with me. So if you have a moment where you're like, I'm stuck, and we get on the phone and we thug it out for 10 minutes, just to give you that extra support. And also support group, Not My Love. I was talking to Sequoia earlier today, and I feel like I need to go ahead and just make that public. Not My Kind of Love is for domestic violence victims or survivors. That support group is available. And I also offer coaching or therapy services. But again, the therapy services are only available to Florida residents. But coaching services, you be anywhere in the world, sis.
So awesome. And where the checkout link at? Where they need to go to check out now? Where they got to
go? To my booth. Go on over to my booth, chair.
Go to her booth, Transcendent Living. Y'all go over there and get that. Sequoia's little gift is so funny. You see that? Super dope. All right, so it is time to go to the Buy Black Market. I don't have to repeat all the reasons why y'all should show up over there and literally circulate your time, your energy. Energy is currency, man. Energy is everything. We talked about this today. And you're bartering, right? Trading your fiat currency for the resources they're gonna give you. It's literally that simple. Like, it ain't fiat dollars ain't nothing more than just bartering, literally. Okay. But yeah, y'all go do that. Neff has a booth. Check her out. Let me tell you something. Y'all better check her out because she's not doing these anymore. Like, don't come tomorrow messaging me talking about some. Well, is she going? No, she's not. Okay, so definitely go to her booth today. Y'all go to the checkout because my God, this is. I don't even have the words. This is amazing enough. I'm not even proud. Because it's bigger than that. I'm just so damn impressed. Like, my God. Dope.
That's huge coming from you. That's huge.
Cut it out. Nah, you cold, Shada. You cold. Yeah, y'all check out the Buy Black Market. Y'all definitely hit up the lounge. For those who do not know, you can create your own tables if you want to. Now, it's 12 of them out there now, so you can just say, come over here to table 4, child, and they'll come, okay? You can actually, when you sit at a table, literally click the chair and you can sit down. You can actually invite people to your table. So if you've had some interaction with Biz Besties or whatever, new Biz Besties, you can literally, at the bottom right of those windows that come up when you sit down, you can literally invite people to come. Like, a link will go to them and they can click the link and be teleported to your table. But it does not close. It's open 24/5, 5 days of the summit. We ain't gonna have it open on Saturday and Sunday. But take up space. And yeah, definitely go by the booths, y'all. Like, they're here, they want to talk to you, they're gonna be broadcasting, they're gonna be at tables. Like, just take up space, y'all. There is no rush in this thing, man. Like, y'all can stay here all day if you want to. Neff, I love you. Bravo.
I love you more.
Bravo, child. Ooh. All right, y'all. I am about to go to bed. I'm over in Tanzania. It is 1:26 a.m. I love y'all so deep, man. And it's just 2 days left. 2 days left. I'm excited for y'all. I'm excited about all of the great things you're gonna do in the world. I'm excited about y'all being part of this community, man. The world will know our names. Appreciate y'all. Have a very, very good end of your day. Love and light. Peace.